Chapter 1594. Oh. Zhang Liebao let out a strange cry. Fourth master, what's wrong with you? Zhang Yuliang asked hurriedly. You hit me too lightly. Use more strength. What's wrong with not eating? Zhang Liebao touched the face that was slapped by Zhang Yuliang and said, use more strength. Ah. Zhang Yuliang deliberately didn't dare to use too much strength. He didn't expect that not using strength was not enough. It couldn't be helped. Zhang Yuliang had to reach out his hand again and slapped Zhang Liebao. This time, he didn't hold back. He slapped Zhang Liebao's face directly with all his strength. Ayo! Zhang Liebao screamed. Fourth master, are you okay? You told me to use strength. Zhang Yuliang asked carefully with a bitter face. Cool. Zhang Liebao spat out a word with a satisfied smile. Of course, I told you to use more strength. This time, it's not bad. Again. Ah. Again. Zhang Yuliang really didn't know what to say. Is this fourth master sick? Yang Ming is gone, and he still wants me to hit him. Nonsense, hurry up. Zhang Liebao said. Oh. Zhang Yuliang raised his arm again and slapped Zhang Liebao. Zhang Liebao's face was full of nosebleeds. Cool, it's really cool. Zhang Liebao shouted. Zhang Yuliang suddenly felt a chill. Could it be that his fourth uncle had masochistic tendencies? Why does he like to be beaten so much? Zhang Yuliang really guessed right. Zhang Liebao was under pressure before. When he faced Yang Ming, he only hoped that Zhang Yuliang could beat him as hard as possible so that Yang Ming would forgive him. Therefore, under the psychological pressure and expectation of Yang Ming's forgiveness, Zhang Liebao's heart was distorted. He had an indescribable pleasure for being beaten. This was also the reason why he let Zhang Yuliang continue to beat him. Why did you stop? Zhang Liebao frowned. Continue. Ah. Zhang Yuliang looked at Zhang Liebao, who had almost turned into a pig's head. He sighed and could only wave his arm again. If Yang Ming knew that Zhang Liebao's heart had changed in an instant, who knew what he would think? Brother Yang, where are we going now? Asked Bao Sanli. I have an appointment with Sun Jia for dinner tonight. Wait for me to ask her about the location. You can send me there later. Yang Ming said, Little Jia has a car. I will take her car tonight. Okay. Bao Sanli replied. Bao Sanli was very clear about the relationship between Yang Ming and Sun Jia, so he had no doubts about Yang Ming and Sun Jia eating together. Yang Ming looked at the time and dialed Sun Jia's number. Sun Jia, where are you? Asked Yang Ming. Yang Ming. I am in class. Sun Jia said, What's wrong? What's the matter? You are still in class. I looked at the time and thought you were done. Yang Ming said apologetically, Didn't we agree to eat together tonight? Where are you going? I will book a place first. And, let me think about it. Why don't we go to the Nightless Club or the International Hotel? Anyway, it is your territory. Sun Jia said. That's fine. Then, let's go to the International Hotel. The reason why Yang Ming didn't choose the Nightless Club was that Sun Jia was attacked there last time. Yang Ming was afraid that Sun Jia would have a psychological shadow and remember some unpleasant things. Moreover, on the top floor of the Songjiang International Hotel, Yang Ming also had a villa. After eating at night, they could stay there directly, so they didn't have to go to other places. Okay, then send me a text message after you book a room. Sun Jia said. Okay, then contact me by text message. Yang Ming said. After hanging up the phone, Yang Ming said to Bao Sanli, Let's go to the International Hotel. Help me book a private room. Okay. Bao solemnly nodded and started the car. In the afternoon, Zhao Ying's mood was very nervous. If it weren't for Sun Jie's previous urging, she wouldn't have asked Yang Ming out. However, with Sun Jie's encouragement, Zhao Ying agreed in a muddle-headed manner. In the afternoon class, after her mind calmed down, she was a little embarrassed. What reason do I have to ask Yang Ming out? Could it be that my friend wants to see him? How awkward is that? Yang Ming and I aren't in a relationship. What if Sun Jia asks some inappropriate questions after I go there? Therefore, the more Zhao Ying thought about it, the more scared she was. During the afternoon class, she was absent-minded. She played with the phone in her hand and didn't know how to talk to Yang Ming. However, Zhao Ying had already promised Sun Jia to have dinner together. At this time, it wasn't very good to go back on her words. What should I do? Zhao Ying couldn't make up her mind for a while. For so long, she hadn't contacted Yang Ming. She suddenly asked him to have dinner because Sun Jia wanted to see him. If Sun Jia said something that embarrassed her, then how could she face Yang Ming in the future? Zhao Ying also became a bad student today. She was distracted during class. When she remembered that when she was a teacher, Yang Ming was distracted and didn't know what he was thinking, Zhao Ying smiled bitterly. Zhao Ying didn't expect that she would become a student one day. Moreover, she would be distracted in class. In a daze, she heard a noise coming from the classroom. The students around her stood up one after another. Zhao Ying suddenly came back to her senses. She didn't know when the class had ended, but she didn't hear it. Zhao Ying, are you free tonight? Let's have dinner together. Fan Jinja walked over with a smile and stood next to Zhao Ying. He reached out and made an inviting gesture. Fan Jinja went back and changed his clothes. Then, he checked Zhao Ying's class schedule. He deliberately waited at the door of Zhao Ying's class and waited for the class to end. Then, he walked into the classroom. He freshened up and wore a suit that he thought was chic just to give Zhao Ying a new look. He believed that as long as Sun Jia didn't mess things up, he would definitely be able to capture Zhao Ying's heart. This was because Fan Jinja also saw that Zhao Ying was very simple and not so scheming. Sun Jia, on the other hand, was like a little fox. He couldn't take advantage of her at all. Tonight? I don't have time. I have an appointment with someone else. Zhao Ying was shocked when she saw Fan Jinja. After hearing Fan Jinja's words, she shook her head and refused. Oh. You have an appointment with someone? Who is it? Fan Jinja was slightly disappointed, but he still didn't give up and asked. I have an appointment with Sun Jia to have dinner together, said Zhao Ying. If that's the case, it's okay. Let's go together. Fan Jinja heard that it was Sun Jia. Although he was a little reluctant, he still said it in order to have more contact with Zhao Ying. Zhao Ying frowned. Why is this person so difficult to deal with? However, she wasn't the kind of person who was good at expressing her feelings. She didn't know how to refuse Fan Jinja, so she could only say, then you can talk to Sun Jia. Fan Jinja was slightly stunned. He didn't expect that Zhao Ying also knew how to play Tai Chi. The reason why he talked to Zhao Ying was that he knew that Zhao Ying was the kind of girl who wasn't good at expressing herself. If it was Sun Jia, he really had no confidence at all. Wasn't this afternoon miserable enough? Zhao Ying had something on her mind, so she didn't bother to pay attention to Fan Jinja. She picked up her small bag and walked to the door of the classroom. Fan Jinja quickly followed and shouted from behind, Zhao Ying, wait for me. Zhao Ying didn't speak. She hated Fan Jinja very much in her heart. Why did he have to cause trouble at this time? After leaving the teaching building, she looked up and saw Sun Jia waiting for her in front of the teaching building. Zhao Ying was happy and quickly quickened her pace. Little Jia. Zhao Ying waved at her. Zhao Ying, why did you only end class now? Your instructor can really drag it out. Sun Jia saw Zhao Ying, waved at her, and complained. Chapter 1595. Really? Zhao Ying was muddle-headed throughout the class. She didn't look at the time. She didn't know what was being talked about in today's class, nor did she notice how long the class lasted. It's 20 minutes later than usual, said Sun Jia. Little Jia. Fan Jinja caught up from behind. When he saw Sun Jia, he quickly smiled at her and made a pose that he thought was cool. Who allowed you to call me Little Jia? Sun Jia frowned. Am I very close to you? Ugh. I heard Zhao Ying call you that. Fan Jinja wanted to get close to Sun Jia, but he didn't expect that such an address would make Sun Jia feel disgusted with him. Sun Jia snorted softly and ignored Fan Jinja. Instead, she said to Zhao Ying, let's go. And Zhao Ying nodded and glanced at Fan Jinja from the corner of her eyes. She didn't know how to deal with this person. You are going to eat, right? Let's go. Let's go together. It's my treat, said Fan Jinja elegantly. It's okay. We have an appointment. Sun Jia glanced at Fan Jinja and refused. Oh, I see. Seeing that Sun Jia didn't want to bring him along, Fan Jinja still said shamelessly, I have a car. It's in the parking lot. Where are you going? I can send you there. Sun Jia didn't even bother with Fan Jinja this time. She walked directly in the direction of the parking lot with Sun Jia. Fan Jinja thought that Sun Jia had acquiesced to his suggestion. He was delighted and followed behind the two of them, walking in the direction of the parking lot. As Fan Jinja walked, he was calculating in his heart. After Sun Jia and Zhao Ying get in the car, I will persuade them. Then, maybe they will agree to eat with me. Sun Jia's so-called appointment was just an excuse in Fan Jinja's opinion. Otherwise, why did Zhao Ying only say that she had an appointment with Sun Jia and didn't say that she had an appointment with someone else? Therefore, Fan Jinja was sure that Sun Jia, this little vixen, must be deceiving him. Fan Jinja had a deep understanding of Sun Jia's shrewdness, so he had given up on pursuing Sun Jia. He knew that he couldn't control a woman like Sun Jia. Zhao Ying was purer and more delicate. They followed Sun Jia and Zhao Ying to the parking lot. Fan Jinja ran in front of the two women, then he raised the car remote control in his hand and pressed it in the air. A Honda Accord made a beep sound, and the lights flashed twice. This is my car. Both of you, please get in. Fan Jinja gestured to Sun Jia and Zhao Ying. Sun Jia and Zhao Ying stopped and looked at each other. They saw helplessness and amusement in each other's eyes. After looking at each other, the two continued to walk forward. Fan Jinja saw Sun Jia and Zhao Ying looking at each other before walking towards his car. He was overjoyed and quickly followed them. However, when Sun Jia and Zhao Ying passed by his car, they didn't stop at all but continued to move forward. What are you going to do? My car is here. Fan Jinja saw that Sun Jia and Zhao Ying didn't sit in his car. He was a little anxious and shouted at them. Sun Jia and Zhao Ying ignored him and continued to move forward. Zhao Ying, Sun Jia, my car is here. Fan Jinja patted his car door and said, this is the Accord. It's mine. Sun Jia was really annoyed by Fan Jinja's shouting. There was still some distance between them, so she had no choice but to take out the remote control and press it first. A red Audi R8 in the distance made two sounds. Sun Jia and Zhao Ying quickened their pace and walked towards the red R8. This. Fan Jinja was a little dumbfounded. He stared blankly at the red Audi R8 in the distance. Although he didn't know the value of the R8, Fan Jinja knew very well from the image in Iron Man that this car was definitely not cheap. Fan Jinja felt that he was already very rich in school. He had his own company outside the school. The car he usually drove was a Honda Accord that cost more than 200,000 yuan. He could show off in front of the girls. He originally thought that he could show his face in front of Sun Jia and Zhao Ying, but he didn't expect that Sun Jia's car was much more high-end than his. Thinking about Sun Jia's usual words and actions, Fan Jinja was sure that Sun Jia must be a rich girl who didn't put him in her eyes at all. No wonder Sun Jia didn't care about me. Fan Jinja sighed. However, he didn't feel too disappointed. Instead, he was glad that his main target was not Sun Jia. This was because he had also heard that some rich girls were very depraved and had a messy private life. They would casually sleep with boys and take some videos and photos. Fan Jinja felt that this kind of woman was not safe even if she was given to him. It was too easy for her to cheat on him. In his opinion, Sun Jia was this type. Otherwise, how could her breasts be so big? Looking at Zhao Ying, she was much more simple. Although Sun Jia was a rich girl, Fan Jinja was absolutely sure that Zhao Ying was only born in an ordinary family. Therefore, at this moment, Fan Jinja didn't back down except for his face being a little ugly after seeing Sun Jia's Audi R8. He couldn't be compared to Sun Jia, but at least he could show off in front of Zhao Ying. Moreover, Sun Jia was just a rich second generation relying on her family. How could she be better than a man who ran a company outside like him? As a matter of fact, he was very popular with girls in school. It was just that Fan Jinja didn't like ordinary girls. Seeing Sun Jia and Zhao Ying get into the red Audi R8, Fan Jinja gritted his teeth, got into his car, and followed from behind. He wanted to follow Sun Jia and Zhao Ying and see where they were going to eat. Fan Jinja felt that he must be shameless to chase girls. This trick might not work on Sun Jia, but it would definitely work on Zhao Ying. Fan Jinja was not worried about not being able to catch up with Sun Jia. Although Sun Jia's car was a sports car, it was in the city. So what if it was a sports car? In such a congested traffic, even a flying car couldn't go very fast. Little Jia, he is following us. Zhao Ying frowned when she saw Fan Jinja's car following them from behind. Don't care about him. Let him do what he wants. Sun Jia said in her heart, if I wasn't afraid of scaring Zhao Ying, would have called Yang Ming directly. I believe that Fan Jinja's ending will be very satisfying. Oh. Zhao Ying nodded and stopped thinking about Fan Jinja. Instead, she thought about how to talk to Yang Ming. Zhao Ying, have you called your boyfriend? Asked Sun Jia. No. I'm a little embarrassed. Zhao Ying hesitated and said with a blush. Ah. It can't be. I have already made reservations here. You haven't called yet. Sun Jia was stunned. Zhao Ying, you should call him quickly. What time is it now? What if he has something to do? Wouldn't we have prepared for nothing today? We haven't contacted each other for a long time. Zhao Ying whispered, I don't know how to say it. What's there to not know? Just say that you want to ask him out for dinner. Sun Jia said, don't mention my matter first. Ask him out first. I see. Zhao Ying was still a little hesitant. Then I will send him a message first. You are such a bashful person. How can you do that? Sun Jia looked at Zhao Ying's appearance and couldn't help but smile bitterly. You are so timid. It is useless even if the man takes the initiative. Okay. Zhao Ying took out her mobile phone after Sun Jia said this. She typed a message and sent it out. Yang Ming was chatting with Bao Sonli at the Songjiang International Hotel about the development of the company when his mobile phone rang. Yang Ming took it out and glanced at it. It was a new message. Are you free tonight? Yang Ming was slightly stunned because the sender of this text message was actually Zhao Ying. Zhao Ying had not contacted him for a long time. Although he had contacted Zhao Ying on the internet, the Zhao Ying on the internet did not know that he was Yang Ming. Therefore, Yang Ming had some doubts about Zhao Ying suddenly sending him a text message. Logically, this is not Zhao Ying's character. With Zhao Ying's character, how could she take the initiative to contact me? I occasionally sent her a message when I was free for a few days, but she didn't reply. Let alone taking the initiative to send me a message and ask if I am free tonight. Could it be that Zhao Ying sent the wrong message? However, if she sent the wrong message, who did Zhao Ying send this message to? Could it be that Zhao Ying is going on a date with someone else? So, Zhao Ying has a new boyfriend. When he thought of this possibility, Yang Ming's heart was as uncomfortable as being scratched by a cat. Chapter 1596. Could it be that Zhao Ying really lost confidence in me and turned to the arms of others? Yang Ming and Bao Sonli's conversation also became absent-minded. Brother Yang. You said that the escort company. Bao Sonli looked at Yang Ming, who didn't seem to listen to him at all. He was somewhat absent-minded, so he stopped what he wanted to say and said, Brother Yang, what's wrong? Did something happen? Ah. Yang Ming immediately reacted and looked at Bao Sonli apologetically. It's nothing. I will send a text message. Okay, then Brother Yang, I will go to the hotel first. Bao Sonli took the initiative to stand up and evaded. You go ahead. Yang Ming waved his hand casually, but he was thinking about Zhao Ying's text message. Bao Sonli sighed slightly. He guessed that Yang Ming must have encountered something, but since Yang Ming didn't say it, Bao Sonli couldn't keep asking, so Bao Sonli chose to evade temporarily. If Yang Ming had something, he could call him at any time. Yang Ming hesitated for a while and sent a text message back to Zhao Ying. What's the matter? Yang Ming didn't say whether he had time or not. He just asked Zhao Ying what was the matter. Even if Zhao Ying sent the wrong message, they wouldn't be awkward. If it was really sent to him, Zhao Ying only needed to say what was the matter. If it wasn't sent to him, she just needed to say that there was nothing. It was much easier to accept than if he said that he had time or not, and Zhao Ying said that it was sent to the wrong message. After a while, Zhao Ying's text message was sent again. Let's have dinner together tonight. Asked Zhao Ying. Yang Ming looked at the phone in his hand and couldn't help but be stunned. Zhao Ying didn't send the wrong message. But it was really sent to me. She asked if I was free tonight. Let's have dinner together. Zhao Ying took the initiative to ask me out for dinner. Yang Ming wasn't used to it for a while. He really had some doubts. This isn't Zhao Ying's character. If it were other times, Yang Ming would definitely not hesitate to agree and then go and see what happened. But today, Yang Ming had already made an appointment with Sun Jia, and he had already booked a room in the hotel. If he missed the appointment, it wouldn't be fair to Sun Jia. Moreover, Yang Ming also missed Sun Jia. They hadn't been alone for a long time. After hesitating for a while, Yang Ming decided to reject Zhao Ying's invitation. Zhao Ying nervously waited for Yang Ming's reply. The text message tone of the phone rang. Zhao Ying quickly pressed the read button. After reading Yang Ming's reply, Zhao Ying was a little disappointed. However, there was a feeling of relief. If Yang Ming agreed today, then Zhao Ying wasn't mentally prepared. How could she face it? You sent it for so long. How is it? Asked Sun Jia. He said that he has something to do tonight. He can't come. Zhao Ying shrugged and said. Something to do. Sun Jia frowned after listening. Why didn't you make an appointment with him earlier? Now, at this time, he must have already booked something. Then forget it. Let's talk about it another day. You go and eat by yourself. I won't go, said Zhao Ying. How can that be? Sun Jia shook her head. How about this? You contact your boyfriend again. Tell him that he doesn't need to come to eat. He just needs to come over and show his face. He's not my boyfriend. Zhao Ying blushed. This isn't good. Isn't this tormenting him? If you don't torment him, how do you know if he cares about you? Sun Jia said, it's also a test and a test. Girls occasionally have to throw a little tantrum. This. Zhao Ying was hesitant by Sun Jia's words. She didn't know if she should follow Sun Jia's advice. Hurry up. We will reach the hotel in a while. Sun Jia said, you tell him that at the Songjiang International Hotel, he just needs to show his face. He doesn't need to stay too long. Then, okay. Zhao Ying finally nodded. She picked up the phone again and sent a text message to Yang Ming. In a while, can you come over? It won't take too long. You just need to show your face. I have a friend who wants to see you. Yang Ming looked at Zhao Ying's text message and suddenly felt a little dumbfounded. Zhao Ying's friend wants to see me. What does that mean? Could it be Wang Xiaoyan? Yang Ming was just thinking about it casually. This friend naturally wouldn't be Wang Xiaoyan. However, in any case, Zhao Ying rarely took the initiative to ask him, and it wouldn't take too long. Yang Ming didn't need to refuse, so he sent a text message. Where is it? I'll look at the time. If it's not too late, I'll go over. Zhao Ying saw Yang Ming's reply and sent a text message, it's at the Songjiang International Hotel. Songjiang International Hotel. Yang Ming looked at Zhao Ying's text message and was stunned again. It can't be, right? Zhao Ying asked me to meet at the Songjiang International Hotel. In this case, there is nothing wrong with me going to Zhao Ying's place. Thinking of this, Yang Ming replied with a text message, well, let's contact each other by text message. Seeing Yang Ming's text message, Zhao Ying took a deep breath. She didn't know what to feel in her heart. Should I be excited or nervous? What's wrong? Did he agree? Sun Jia saw that Zhao Ying's expression was a bit strange, so she asked. He agreed. He will come over in a while, said Zhao Ying. That's good. I will help you test it in a while to see if he really likes you, said Sun Jia. Sun Jia said, however, from the fact that he promised you to come over, he should still care about you. Oh. Zhao Ying responded, but she didn't know how to answer. Sun Jia drove to the Songjiang International Hotel. Fan Jinja had been following behind. Seeing Sun Jia's car drive into the parking lot of the International Hotel, Fan Jinja was secretly shocked. This rich girl is really rich. I rarely come to this kind of high-class place. I will only come here if it is for business or important matters. However, for Zhao Ying today, Fan Jinja decided to enter even if it was a dragon's lair or a tiger's den, not to mention this expensive place. Sun Jia also saw Fan Jinja following in, but she didn't mind. Yang Ming had already booked a private room. At that time, could Fan Jinja still force his way into her private room? If he really forced his way in, then he would die miserably. Yang Ming would never let him go easily. Sun Jia found a parking space and parked the car. Fan Jinja also quickly found a place near Sun Jia and parked his car. It was not dinner time yet, so there were still a lot of parking spaces in the hotel. Sun Jia and Zhao Ying got out of the car and walked toward the entrance of the hotel. Fan Jinja followed behind them, ready to find a suitable opportunity to strike up a conversation. He didn't think that Sun Jia and Zhao Ying would go to the private room to eat. He thought that the two of them would definitely sit in the lobby and eat. After all, it was only the two of them, and it was impossible for them to have a private room. It was useless even if Sun Jia was a rich girl. Fan Jinja, who had done business here several times, knew very well that the number of private rooms in the international hotel was very limited. If one didn't make an appointment in advance, it was impossible to book one. So, he was going to wait until Sun Jia and Zhao Ying were seated before going up to chat with them. He believed that Sun Jia couldn't refuse in public. Then, the rest would be logical. Ladies, welcome. After Sun Jia and Zhao Ying entered the hotel, the greeter on the side of the hotel said to them politely, "May I ask if you are staying or dining? Do you have a reservation?" A greeter asked. "Private room 307, Sun Jia said to the greeter. "Okay, please wait a moment." The greeter took Sun Jia and Zhao Ying to the computer at the front desk, entered the number of the private room, and then asked, "Is this reserved by a Mr. Yang?" "Yes." Sun Jia nodded. "Okay, please take the elevator and turn left. There are waiters on the third floor. If you can't find it, you can ask them." The greeter made an inviting gesture to Sun Jia and Zhao Ying. Chapter 1597. In the elevator, Sun Jia called Yang Ming. "We're here. Are you in the private room?" Previously, Yang Ming only sent the private room's number to Sun Jia, so Sun Jia wasn't sure if Yang Ming was in the private room, so she called to confirm. "I'm in the private room. You can just come up directly," Yang Ming said. "Okay, let's go up," said Sun Jia. "Us? There are others." Yang Ming was slightly stunned. "Didn't Sister Xiaoqing say that she couldn't come because of something?" "It's not Sister Xiaoqing. It's a classmate of mine." Sun Jia said with a smile, "Why? Am I not welcome?" "That's not it." Yang Ming smiled bitterly in his heart. Although he was not very welcome in his heart, it was rare for him to have time alone with Sun Jia, but Sun Jia brought others. "Then wait for us. Don't worry. She is also a beauty." Sun Jia smiled. "Okay." Yang Ming could only accept this reality. "Why? Is your boyfriend unhappy?" Zhao Ying waited for Sun Jia to hang up the phone before she asked, "Are you afraid that I will affect your life?" "How could it be?" He was just a little surprised. Sun Jia shook her head and said lightly. She naturally knew that Yang Ming would be helpless, but she couldn't tell these things to Zhao Ying, so as not to affect her mood. "Since my friend has something to do tonight, then today, I think we should forget about it." Zhao Ying said with some hesitation, "I will also ruin the atmosphere with you too." "How can that be?" Sun Jia quickly pulled Zhao Ying. "You can't go. Besides, didn't you say that your boyfriend will come when he has time?" "I don't know if he has time," Zhao Ying said with uncertainty. "Whether he has time or not, we will know in a while. Let's go. We are already here." Sun Jia pulled Zhao Ying out of the elevator and walked in the direction of room 307. Sun Jia was a frequent guest of the Songjiang International Hotel. Without the guidance of the waiter, Sun Jia was brought directly to the door of room 307. Dang dang dang. Sun Jia knocked on the door. "Who is it?" Yang Ming asked. "It's me," said Sun Jia. When Zhao Ying heard Yang Ming's voice, she was slightly stunned. Why did this voice sound so familiar? "Zhao Ying, what's wrong with you?" Sun Jia heard Zhao Ying's exclamation, so she turned around and asked. It's nothing. Zhao Ying shook her head and smiled apologetically. Naturally, she didn't think that the person in the room was someone she knew. There were too many people with similar voices. While the two were talking, the door of the room was opened. Yang Ming walked out from inside and gave Sun Jia a warm hug. Little Jia, you are here. Ah! Zhao Ying exclaimed and covered her mouth. She looked at the scene in front of her incredulously. From the moment Yang Ming walked out of the room, Zhao Ying was shocked. She felt a little surprised in her heart. Could it be that Yang Ming came here first? However, she thought about it again. Although she told Yang Ming that the place to eat was at the Songjiang International Hotel, she didn't tell him the number of the private room. He didn't know that she was eating in room 307. Even she just knew that it was room 307. So, how did Yang Ming find this place? Thinking of this, Zhao Ying's heart faintly had an ominous premonition. When Yang Ming called Sun Jia's name affectionately and hugged Sun Jia, Zhao Ying's mind buzzed, the ominous premonition before finally became a reality. Could it be that Sun Jia's boyfriend is Yang Ming? How could there be such a coincidence in the world? Zhao Ying's mind was blank. She was stunned for a while and didn't know what to do. Hearing Zhao Ying's exclamation, Yang Ming suddenly woke up. Previously, he didn't use his special ability to check the situation outside the room in advance. He didn't know who Sun Jia brought. Yang Ming didn't think much about it. Sun Jia just brought a classmate. If he used his special ability to check in advance, it would be a bit of a fuss. When Yang Ming opened the door, his attention was also focused on Sun Jia. He didn't pay attention to the person next to Sun Jia. When Zhao Ying exclaimed, although she covered her mouth in time, it was too late. Yang Ming looked at Zhao Ying and was suddenly dumbfounded. How could it be Zhao Ying? Sun Jia's classmate is Zhao Ying. Why haven't I heard of it before? This is troublesome, Yang Ming, this is my good sister, Zhao Ying. What's wrong with you? Why do you have this expression? Although Sun Jia also heard Zhao Ying's previous exclamation, she didn't take it seriously because she thought that Zhao Ying was shocked by Yang Ming suddenly hugging her. Good sister. Yang Ming smiled bitterly and repeated Sun Jia's words strangely. Why did he feel that Sun Jia seemed to have a double meaning? Yang Ming, what's wrong with you? Sun Jia frowned. Zhao Ying is a very good person. Can you not have this bitter face? Yang Ming didn't know how to explain it. Sun Jia obviously misunderstood him. She thought that his bitter expression was because he didn't welcome Zhao Ying. How would she know the real reason? Zhao Ying, don't mind it. My boyfriend is like this. He's not very good at expressing his emotions. He is usually silly. Sun Jia glared at Yang Ming and explained to Zhao Ying. Oh, it's nothing. It's fine. Zhao Ying smiled absent-mindedly. She felt a sense of loss in her heart. When she heard Sun Jia say that Yang Ming was her boyfriend, Zhao Ying didn't doubt it this time. It seemed that Sun Jia's boyfriend was Yang Ming. However, when did Yang Ming get together with Sun Jia? Why didn't I know about it? I didn't see Yang Ming bring Sun Jia back to the villa. Zhao Ying, you really don't mind it. Sun Jia was also puzzled in her heart. Yang Ming wasn't a stingy person. What happened today? It wasn't like she hadn't been with friends before. For example, Yang Ming was very affectionate when he was with her. He even recognized her as his sister. When he was with Zhao Ying, why was he so different? Logically, with Sun Jia's shrewdness, if she went deep into it, it wasn't difficult to guess that there must be something hidden. However, she didn't think about it in that way. In her opinion, it was to quickly adjust the relationship between Yang Ming and Zhao Ying. They would talk about other things after they entered the private room. I'm fine. I'm just a little uncomfortable. Zhao Ying smiled reluctantly. I'm a little dizzy. Why don't you guys eat first? I'll go back first. I won't be here, how can that be? Since you're here, why don't you sit for a while before leaving? Besides, you were fine just now. Why did you suddenly feel uncomfortable? Sun Jia was a little suspicious. She suddenly thought of something, so she said, Are you angry with Yang Ming? Yang Ming, why aren't you apologizing to Zhao Ying? Do you not want to go to bed tonight? Sun Jia reached out and pinched Yang Ming's waist. Yang Ming almost exclaimed. Fortunately, Yang Ming's ability to resist attacks was relatively strong, so he didn't make a fool of himself. Yang Ming was embarrassed for a while. After hearing Sun Jia's words, he was sweating in his heart. Isn't this asking for my life? It's okay. It's not his fault. I suddenly felt uncomfortable. Little Jia, it's nothing. Zhao Ying waved her hand to Sun Jia and refused her kindness. She couldn't help but feel bitter in her heart. Little Jia, Sister Ying, let's go in and talk. It's not convenient to talk in the corridor. Yang Ming gritted his teeth. Since it's my own business, then I'll solve it myself. From Zhao Ying's current reaction, she obviously didn't want Sun Jia to know that she and Yang Ming knew each other, so in order to avoid embarrassment, she used the excuse that she was not feeling well to leave. Yang Ming was very clear about this point. However, if Yang Ming let Zhao Ying leave, then was he still a man? He asked himself honestly. He absolutely couldn't do this kind of thing, and he didn't want to do it. Today, if he let Zhao Ying leave so lonely, how much damage would it bring to Zhao Ying's heart? It was conceivable. How would he face Zhao Ying in the future? Therefore, Yang Ming decided to take this responsibility. In any case, he had to give an explanation to Sun Jia and Zhao Ying today. When she heard Yang Ming call Zhao Ying Sister Ying, Sun Jia looked at Yang Ming with some doubts and looked at Zhao Ying again. She faintly guessed something in her heart. Could it be that it wasn't the first time the two people met? Is there any contradiction between them? When she heard Yang Ming call her Sister Ying in front of Sun Jia, Zhao Ying's heart softened, just in time. Let's see how Yang Ming explains it. Although Sun Jia had doubts in her heart, she still pulled Zhao Ying into the private room and closed the door of the private room. Chapter 1598. Fan Jinja quickly followed Sun Jia and Zhao Ying into the lobby of the Songjiang International Hotel. He happened to see Sun Jia and Zhao Ying getting into the elevator, so he quickly found the hostess who was talking to Sun Jia and Zhao Ying. He asked, I was with the two ladies just now. Where did they go? Fan Jinja saw that Sun Jia and Zhao Ying did not go to the lobby on the first floor to eat but went upstairs. Obviously, they had booked a private room, so Fan Jinja was a little anxious. If he was one step slower, he would almost lose them. Together. Excuse me, you are. The hostess glanced at Fan Jinja with some doubts. She thought, if they were together, why didn't they come together? Why are you following behind them in a hurry? Is there a problem? Therefore, the hostess did not directly say where Sun Jia and Zhao Ying went. Instead, she asked about Fan Jinja's identity. I'm their chauffeur. I just parked the car and ran in. Fan Jinja smiled at the receptionist and explained. So you are their driver. The hostess nodded in realization, since you are the driver, there is no problem. They went to room 307 on the third floor. Fan Jinja's explanation was very consistent with the current situation, so the hostess did not doubt it and directly told Fan Jinja where Sun Jia and Zhao Ying went. Okay, thank you. Fan Jinja nodded and quickly went to another elevator. While he kept praying for the elevator to go faster, the elevator finally stopped on the 3rd floor slowly. Fan Jinja rushed out of the elevator, looked around, and sighed in relief. He saw Sun Jia and Zhao Ying. He saw Sun Jia and Zhao Ying standing in front of a private room. He knocked on the door twice, and then the door opened. A man came out from inside and hugged Sun Jia. After a few words, they entered the private room. Because Fan Jinja was far away, he couldn't hear what they were saying. It turns out that little girl's son is here to meet her boyfriend. No wonder she is so stubborn. It turns out that she is already taken. Fan Jinja thought to himself. Fortunately, I didn't pursue Sun Jia. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any results. After seeing Sun Jia's sports car, Fan Jinja had a certain understanding of Sun Jia's family background. Seeing that Sun Jia's boyfriend could book a private room in the Songjiang International Hotel, he must be someone who matched Sun Jia's family background. Fan Jinja knew that he could not reach this level. I don't know why Sun Jia brought Zhao Ying on a date. Fan Jinja was annoyed with Sun Jia. Why did she bring a light bulb on a date? Isn't she looking for trouble? Could it be that there were other people in the room? Fan Jinja did not dare to knock on the door rashly. After all, she had already entered the private room. It was still possible to meet her by chance in the hall, but if he met her by chance in the private room, he would be suspected of stalking her. Moreover, it was hard to say if there were only 3 people in the room. What if there were others? Therefore, Fan Jinja decided to wait and see the situation before making his next plan. After Yang Ming entered the private room, he looked at Sun Jia, then looked at Zhao Ying. He sighed and said, "Little Jia, you and Sister Ink should sit down. Since everyone is here, let's clear up some things together." I don't want to listen. I'll go back first. Zhao Ying was a little nervous. Her face was red, and she wanted to stand up and escape. Sister Ying, don't go. Yang Ming stood in front of Zhao Ying unquestionably. Sun Jia also grabbed Zhao Ying's hand. Zhao Ying, if there's anything, listen to Yang Ming first. It won't be too late to leave after that. Zhao Ying couldn't help it. She could only sigh faintly and sit back on the sofa. Sister Ying, you sent me a text message before, asking me if I had time to come out for dinner tonight. Was it to attend this dinner party? Yang Ming was afraid that Zhao Ying would do something else, so he asked directly. In this way, Zhao Ying couldn't hide even if she wanted to. This. Zhao Ying lowered her head. Yang Ming must want to disclose the ambiguous relationship between the two. This made Zhao Ying a little embarrassed, especially in front of Sun Jia. After Sun Jia heard Yang Ming's words, she was slightly stunned at first, but then she suddenly understood why Yang Ming and Zhao Ying had such expressions when they suddenly met. She also understood the relationship between the two. It turned out that the so-called sweetheart in Zhao Ying's mouth was actually Yang Ming. Zhao Ying asked Yang Ming to meet her, but because Yang Ming had already made an appointment with her to eat together in advance, he refused Zhao Ying. However, he couldn't stand Zhao Ying's request, so Yang Ming agreed to show up when Zhao Ying was eating. As a result, he didn't show up, but he didn't show up directly. Everyone was reunited. Sun Jia sighed secretly when she thought of what Zhao Ying said to her before. She didn't know what was so good about Yang Ming. Why do so many people like him? However, Sun Jia didn't have any other thoughts, nor did she feel jealous. Sun Jia was a proud woman. In her opinion, her boyfriend must be better than her and others. Yang Ming did this, so Sun Jia chose to be with Yang Ming. Since she chose Yang Ming, she wouldn't care about Yang Ming's other women. She wouldn't even think much about it. She had such a character, so when she knew that Xiao Qing was also related to Yang Ming, she didn't show any disgust and hatred. Instead, she happily accepted this matter. Therefore, Sun Jia didn't intend to interrupt at this moment. Instead, she looked at Yang Ming and Zhao Ying with an expression of watching a good show with a smile. Because I had an appointment with Xiao Jia, I rejected your proposal with a text message. But later, you said that you were eating at the Songjiang International Hotel. I thought that since we were all together, I would go over and sit for a while. It wasn't difficult, so I agreed. Yang Ming continued, however, I really didn't expect that you were the beautiful female classmate that Xiao Jia mentioned. Yang Ming. Don't say it. I guessed it. Zhao Ying was a little embarrassed when she heard Yang Ming say this in front of Sun Jia. But Xiao Jia didn't know. I was also explaining it to her, said Yang Ming. I guessed it too. You don't have to explain. Sun Jia looked at Yang Ming and grinned. Our two good students are very smart. You're the only one who's so long-winded. I see. Yang Ming scratched his head. Fortunately, Yang Ming was thick-skinned, so it didn't matter. Then let's not talk about this. Sister Ying, Xiao Jia, and I have known each other for a long time. We were together during the summer after the college entrance examination. Sun Jia heard that Yang Ming had brought forward the time of their relationship. She couldn't help but roll her eyes at Yang Ming, but she didn't argue. In fact, Yang Ming wasn't wrong. The first time they had sex was at that time. Xiao Jia. Sister Ying and I actually knew each other earlier. Yang Ming explained to Sun Jia again. I know. She is your teacher, and you are her student. Sun Jia had heard Zhao Ying talk about the past. But it doesn't matter. Not now. You are now classmates in the same school. No one can find any problems. Zhao Ying didn't expect Sun Jia to say this. Her face was as red as a ripe apple. Xiao Jia, don't talk nonsense. I didn't talk nonsense. Yang Ming, am I wrong? Sun Jia asked Yang Ming. Yes. What I want to say is this. Yang Ming nodded. Well, the misunderstanding and reason of this matter have been clarified. I hope it won't affect the friendship between you two. Chapter 1599. Affect our friendship. Sun Jia raised her eyebrows and looked at Yang Ming charmingly. She said, aren't you overestimating your influence? Will you affect our friendship? Zhao Ying, do you think so? Zhao Ying was embarrassed by Sun Jia's question, but then she couldn't help but be amused by Sun Jia's expression. She shook her head and whispered, of course not, haha, that's good. Yang Ming didn't care. He touched the back of his head and laughed. He couldn't help but secretly admire Sun Jia's not simple. A simple sentence resolved the awkwardness and anger present. It seemed that she was attacking Yang Ming, but she was forcing Zhao Ying to make a statement. Sun Jia's relaxed and magnanimous attitude also made it easy for Zhao Ying to resolve the knot in her heart, so that there would not be the slightest friendship crack between the two. Yang Ming secretly gave Sun Jia a look of approval. Sun Jia was very proud and raised her mouth. Yang Ming, it turns out that the heartless man that Zhao Ying said is you. Sun Jia turned the topic to Yang Ming, but it did not deviate from the purpose of coming here today. Yang Ming listened to Sun Jia's question and frowned slightly, but he did not answer. He couldn't understand the meaning of Sun Jia's words at this time. Does she support my relationship with Zhao Ying? Or does she not support it? Heartless man. I don't think so, right? Yang Ming smiled awkwardly. Don't you think so? Zhao Ying said that you are neither close nor far from her, but you still haven't expressed your opinion. Sun Jie asked. Little Jie, don't talk about him. In fact, it's my fault. Zhao Ying saw Sun Jie attacking Yang Ming. She was a little embarrassed and quickly explained. She didn't know why. After Zhao Ying just learned about Sun Jie and Yang Ming's matter, her heart was only slightly depressed, and then it returned to normal. She felt much better than when she saw Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan together. That time, she was really depressed. Could it be that he had learned his lesson from Wang Xiaoyan and was immune to it? Or perhaps, Sun Jie and Yang Ming were together earlier, which was beyond my reach, so she didn't feel much about this matter. Or is it because of Sun Jie's easygoing generosity that I can't feel bad about her? Maybe both. Although Zhao Ying's heart was in a mess now, she didn't feel as lost as before. You, with your personality, what progress can you make? Sun Jie looked at Zhao Ying helplessly. At this moment, you have to crusade against him with me. If you excuse him, what will you do in the future? Zhao Ying was speechless by Sun Jie's question. She stuttered for a long time, but she didn't know what to say. Her mind was in a mess. Today's matter was completely out of Zhao Ying's expectation. Obviously, she was the one who brought Yang Ming to Sun Jie, but it turned out that she wanted to steal Sun Jie's boyfriend. Although Sun Jie didn't say so, or she didn't think so, there was a sense of guilt in Zhao Ying's heart. She couldn't open her heart and talk about Yang Ming with Sun Jie. Zhao Ying was such a person who was overcautious. Her character made her choose to retreat again. Little Jie, thank you for saying these words, but my mind is in a mess now. I want to go back and calm down. Is that okay? You. Sun Jie looked at Zhao Ying with disappointment. For Zhao Ying, Sun Jie didn't think that she would become a potential threat. Even if it was Chen Mengyan, Sun Jie knew that she wouldn't be her opponent when it came to wisdom. She was just a little afraid of her position beside Yang Ming. Therefore, for Yang Ming's matters, Sun Jie mostly supported him. Zhao Ying lowered her head and didn't dare to look at Sun Jie and Yang Ming. For a time, the atmosphere in the private room became cold. At this moment, there was a knock on the door of the private room. Please come in, said Yang Ming. A waiter came in and asked respectfully, Mr. Yang, can I serve the dishes? Oh, it's okay. Yang Ming nodded and said. Okay, do you have any other requirements? Asked the waiter. No. Yang Ming waved his hand and gestured for the waiter to leave. The waiter smiled slightly and left the private room. When he turned around, he almost bumped into Fan Jinja, who was standing behind sneakily. Who are you? The waiter closed the door of the private room and asked Fan Jinja with a slightly unfriendly tone. Fan Jinja just saw a waiter enter Zhao Ying and Sun Jie's private room, so he quickly followed him. He wanted to see how many people were in the private room. He did see clearly that there were only 3 people sitting on the sofa in the private room. There was no one else, so Fan Jinja also made up his mind to enter the private room. Therefore, although Fan Jinja was facing the waiter's question, he was not nervous at all. I am in this private room. How can you walk? Don't you watch where you are going? The waiter was stunned by Fan Jinja's self-righteous tone. According to Fan Jinja's tone, it seemed that he was really a member of this private room. So, he apologized without confidence. Sorry, our restaurant has a rule that the waiter must walk backwards out of the private room. So, I didn't see you, sir. Forget it. Fan Jinja waved his hand, turned around and knocked on the door of the private room. When the waiter saw that Fan Jinja really knocked on the door of private room 307, he believed what he said and thought that Fan Jinja was a member of the private room. So, he turned around and left quickly. He was afraid that Fan Jinja would come back and investigate the matter just now and scold him again. What's the matter? Yang Ming thought it was the waiter just now, so there was a slight impatience in his tone. Hello. Fan Jinja pushed the door open and walked in. He nodded politely to Yang Ming. Are you Sun Jie's boyfriend? You are. Yang Ming looked at the person in confusion. He didn't know where he came from, and how he knew that he was Sun Jie's boyfriend. It was because he didn't even know this person in front of him. Hee, I am Sun Jie's postgraduate classmate, and also Zhao Ying's good friend. Fan Jinja deliberately said it ambiguously. He even winked at Yang Ming with a look that said, you know it. In Fan Jinja's opinion, since Yang Ming was Sun Jie's boyfriend, then Yang Ming could help him a little when he was pursuing Zhao Ying. It was also a tacit understanding and friendship between men. Good friend. Yang Ming frowned again. This time, Yang Ming understood Fan Jinja's meaning from his eyes. So, this guy is Zhao Ying's suitor. I didn't expect him to follow me here. Yeah. Fan Jinja naturally didn't notice the trace of displeasure in Yang Ming's eyes. He even smiled at Yang Ming flatteringly, brother, you already have the beauty, but I still need to work hard. Hee. Sun Jia couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh. Fan Jinja's words were so funny. Isn't he asking for trouble by saying these words to Yang Ming? Sun Jia's mature charm when she smiled made Fan Jinja envious. However, he could only suppress the desire in his heart at this moment. He turned his head and didn't look at Sun Jia. He knew that if he kept staring at Sun Jia, then his ending would be very tragic. Sun Jia, this vixen, might take the opportunity to stir up trouble. Then, he would have no hope of pursuing Zhao Ying. Of course, he was also afraid that Yang Ming would have a bad impression of him. Now, Fan Jinja still wanted to have a good relationship with Yang Ming. Hello, this is my business card. Fan Jinja took out his business card and handed it to Yang Ming. Oh. Yang Ming took the business card and glanced at it. It said, Jinja Trading Company General Manager Fan Jinja, so it's President Jin. I've heard so much about you, but I don't have a business card. I'm sorry. I'm unemployed. It's okay, it's okay. Fan Jinja waved his hand again and again. He was even more convinced that Yang Ming was a rich second generation. However, after waving his hand for a long time, he reacted and said quickly, Ugh. I'm not President Jin. My surname is Fan. Oh. I read it wrong. I saw that it said Jinja Trading Company. I thought your surname was Jin. Yang Ming really read it wrong. He didn't deliberately make fun of Fan Jinja. There was no other reason. Yang Ming really looked down on Fan Jinja and didn't put him in his eyes. Well, President Fan then. Also, I've heard so much about you. Chapter 1600. It's fine, it's fine. Fan Jinja waved his hand again and again, but he was rolling his eyes in anger. Previously, when he called me President Jin, I have heard so much about you. Now, he's calling me so much about you. It's simply insulting me. However, in order to build a good relationship with Yang Ming, Fan Jinja braced himself and said, Excuse me, how should I address you? My name is Yang Ming, Yang Ming said faintly. I've heard so much about you. Fan Jinja imitated Yang Ming and said, So it's President Ming. Oh. How do you know that my nickname is President Ming? Yang Ming pretended to be surprised and stood up. He patted Fan Jinja's shoulder vigorously and shouted, My friends call me President Ming in private. Ugh, really? Fan Jinja almost vomited blood after being patted by Yang Ming. However, he didn't know whether Yang Ming did it deliberately or not. Looking at Yang Ming's enthusiastic look, Fan Jinja could only assume that Yang Ming was too happy. Yeah, you're amazing, Yang Ming laughed and continued to pat Fan Jinja's shoulder vigorously. I miss them so much. Miss them? Oh, I understand. They must be your former friends. Fan Jinja looked at Yang Ming with understanding. Yeah, I burn joss paper for them every year, Yang Ming said with a sigh. Burn joss paper. Ah. Burn joss paper. What do you mean? Fan Jinja was shocked and shocked. Nothing. It's just that the friends who called me President Ming are all dead. Yang Ming said sadly. Ha. Fan Jinja was like a duck. He stopped abruptly when he was about to speak. Dead. Yeah, I miss those people who called me President Ming, but I don't know why, but they're all dead, Yang Ming said, wiping his eyes sadly as if he was crying. This. Fan Jinja looked at Yang Ming and was a little overwhelmed. He didn't know if Yang Ming was telling the truth or not, but looking at Yang Ming's sad look, it seemed more like it was true. Fan Jinja really wanted to slap himself. Why is my mouth so cheap? Why did I say, President Ming, for no reason? Previously, Yang Ming might have called me President Jean unintentionally, but I did it on purpose. As a result, not only did I remind him of his sad past, but I also cursed myself. If all the people who called Yang Ming President Ming died, then wouldn't he be in danger too? Thinking of this, Fan Jinja shuddered and felt a chill. That. Mr. Yang, I'm sorry. I reminded you of your sad past. Fan Jinja said reproachfully, I shouldn't have called you President Ming, it's okay. It's not a big deal. I just heard you call me President Ming. I was so excited that I remembered the past. Yang Ming said, I like this name very much, cough cough, is that so? Fan Jinja was a little helpless. He didn't know if he should continue to call Yang Ming President Ming or not. Yeah, forget it. But you shouldn't call me that. After my friends died, I went to a fortune teller. The fortune teller said that there was a resentful spirit in me. That resentful spirit was called President Ming. Those who called me President Ming were cursed to death because they offended the resentful spirit. Yang Ming said seriously, so, for your safety, it's better for you not to call me President Ming, what? Fan Jinja was completely stunned. His heart clenched together. It can't be. Why am I so unlucky? A random name can cause a curse. Isn't this too unlucky? Ah. Oh no, President Fan. The resentful spirit just said in my ear that your thoughts just now offended him. He wants to curse you. Yang Ming exclaimed suddenly. Ah. The resentful spirit can talk to you. Fan Jinja was stunned. He looked at Yang Ming with some astonishment. After a while, his face became a little ugly and angry. Are you playing with me? How can the resentful spirit talk to you? I don't know. It's just a strange feeling. It seems that the resentful spirit told me your thoughts. He said that he wants to punish you. Yang Ming was not in a hurry to refute, but said seriously. Really? Fan Jinja frowned. Are you pretending with me? Why don't I believe it? Fan Jinja still believed Yang Ming's previous words about his friend's death, fortune-telling, and resentful spirit. Although he did not fully believe it, he still felt nervous and uneasy in his heart. Yang Ming said that the resentful spirit talked to him and said that his thoughts offended the resentful spirit. This was unacceptable to Fan Jinja. He was also a graduate student with a master's degree. How could he believe such nonsense? So, after Yang Ming said so, he was a little suspicious. He sneered in his heart. Yang Ming is really adding fuel to the fire. He probably resented me for calling him President Ming in his heart, so he told me such a cold joke. If he did not say that the resentful spirit talked to him, then Fan Jinja would not be completely suspicious. It's true. Why would I lie to you? Yang Ming still had a serious look, without the slightest pretense. Then tell me, what did the resentful spirit say to you? Fan Jinja asked with a sneer. The resentful spirit told me that you were thinking, no way. Why am I so unlucky? A random name can cause a curse. Isn't that too unlucky? Said Yang Ming. This is impossible. As soon as Yang Ming's voice fell, Fan Jinja's face turned green. His eyes widened and were full of panic. This is impossible. How is this possible? How did you know that I was thinking like this? Yang Ming sneered in his heart. Of course, I know what you were thinking. This is what my special ability is for. Fan Jinja was nervous before, so Yang Ming used his special ability to probe his thoughts. Therefore, he could say it word for word to Fan Jinja. Of course, Yang Ming would not tell Fan Jinja about these things. I already told you. It was the vengeful spirit who told me. Yang Ming spread his hands as if it was the truth. This time, Fan Jinja had no choice but to believe in Yang Ming's words. Previously, he thought that Yang Ming was lying to him and fooling around with him. But now, he heard Yang Ming repeat his thoughts word for word. Fan Jinja did not have the slightest doubt. He did not think that Yang Ming could guess what he was thinking. Even if he could guess it, it was already amazing that he could guess the general idea. How could he not be wrong at all? What did the resentful spirit say? Fan Jinja felt a little weak. What did the resentful spirit want to do with me? The resentful spirit said that your thoughts offended him, so he wanted to curse you. Yang Ming said regretfully and sympathetically, I'm sorry, President Fan. You and I have just met, but I have already brought you a lot of trouble. I'm really sorry. Curse me. Fan Jinja thought of Yang Ming saying that his friends were dead. He suddenly rolled his eyes and almost fainted on the spot. Fortunately, his psychological quality was stronger. He resisted the fear in his heart and shouted at Yang Ming, then why didn't you remind me before? Why didn't you remind me? Why didn't you tell me that I couldn't call you President Ming? Why? Do I have a grudge against you? Why do you want to harm me? As Fan Jinja spoke, he pounced on Yang Ming. He looked like he wanted to fight with Yang Ming. How would I know that you would call me President Ming? Yang Ming said aggrievedly. He dodged slightly, and Fan Jinja missed and almost fell to the ground. Fan Jinja was speechless and sobered up a little. Indeed, Yang Ming never let me call him President Ming. I called him President Ming on a whim. Who can I blame for this? And, as I said, I'm really sorry about this. I can't do anything about it. Yang Ming sighed and said. But, what should I do now? Fan Jinja asked anxiously. I don't know. Yang Ming shook his head. Then tell me, how did your friends die? Fan Jinja roared. There are all kinds of ways to die. Some died of illness, some were hit by cars, some accidentally fell to their deaths while walking, some died of cancer after hitting the curb while riding a motorcycle. Yang Ming counted with his fingers. Chapter 1601. Ha! Fan Jinja was dumbfounded after hearing Yang Ming's words. Originally, he thought that as long as he understood how Yang Ming's friends died, he would be able to avoid these things carefully. However, Yang Ming's words made it sound like there were people who died in all kinds of ways. They died from illness, were hit by cars, accidentally fell to their deaths while walking, and even worse, there was someone who died from cancer after hitting the curb while riding a motorcycle. How could you get cancer when you hit the curb? This is not in line with scientific logic. But then again, things like resentful spirits were not scientific. Before today, Fan Jinja would not believe it. However, after hearing Yang Ming accurately say his thoughts today, Fan Jinja had to believe that those ghosts really existed in this world. So, Yang Ming means that it is useless no matter what I do. I can only stay at home and not go out. No, according to Yang Ming's words, it is possible to die from illness even if you stay at home and not go out. Then, am I dead meat? Thinking of this, Fan Jinja's sweat dripped down, and he trembled in fear. The resentful spirit just talked to me again. Yang Ming glanced at Fan Jinja playfully, then said seriously. "Ah. What did the resentful spirit say?" Fan Jinja asked quickly, wanting to see if there was a turning point. The resentful spirit just said that you don't have to think about those useless things. It is useless no matter what you do. You can't stay at home and not go out. You are dead meat, said Yang Ming. I don't want to die yet. I offended you unintentionally. Please don't come to me again. I really didn't mean it. Please be magnanimous and don't bother with a nobody like me. Fan Jinja screamed and knelt on the ground. His body bent down involuntarily, and he kept kowtowing on the ground. He kept muttering, "Vengeful spirit, please let me go. I don't want to die yet. I offended you unintentionally. Please don't come to me again. I really didn't mean it." Fan Jinja had snot and tears. He was as miserable as he could be. His head was almost smoking from kowtowing. Fan Jinja was still a little skeptical about the resentful spirit before, but when Yang Ming accurately said his inner thoughts for the second time, Fan Jinja no longer doubted it. How could there be such a coincidence in the world? If he could guess it once, how could he guess it a second time? Besides, he had no grievances with Yang Ming. Even if there was a conflict between the two sides, it was just a small verbal joke. He did not believe that Yang Ming was such a narrow-minded person to make such a farce to scare him. So, he believed it. He really believed in the rumor of the resentful spirit. There were so many things that could not be explained by science. So many things. So many things could not be explained by science. Fan Jinja did not care about his manners anymore. In front of Zhao Ying, it was fine to lose face. Nothing was more important than his life. If he lost his life, what was the use of having a beauty? Fan Jinja kept kowtowing once he knelt. His head was bleeding and bruised. Then, he carefully raised his head. "Mr. Yang, what did the resentful spirit say now? Did he say that he would let me go after seeing me sincerely admit my mistake?" The resentful spirit didn't say anything. Yang Ming spread his hands and said with sympathy and helplessness. "Ah." He didn't say anything. Fan Jinja was dumbfounded. I worked so hard to win the resentful spirit's understanding and sympathy. Why didn't the resentful spirit say a word? Yeah. Yang Ming nodded. Then, can you plead with the resentful spirit? Fan Jinja asked carefully. President Fan, you think too highly of me, right? What kind of existence is the resentful spirit? How can I possibly communicate with him? If he didn't possess me, maybe he wouldn't even take the initiative to talk to me. Every time he takes the initiative to look for me, I can't find him. Yang Ming sighed and said. Ah, I see. Fan Jinja was completely dumbfounded this time. He didn't expect that he would be so unlucky today. Just one wrong word and he caused such a big trouble. President Fan, in fact, I sympathize with you, but I can't do anything about it. Just like those people who used to accompany me. When I saw them offend the resentful spirit, I really wanted to help them, but I think you know this kind of powerlessness. I know they are going to die, but I can't do anything. Yang Ming closed his eyes in pain. Do you understand this feeling? I understand. Fan Jinja said sadly. Since you understand, then it's good. Don't worry. If you really have an accident, I will burn a piece of paper for you every year, Yang Ming said with a straight face. I know. You don't have to say any more. Fan Jinja didn't bother to please Xiao Ying. He stood up in a daze and walked out of the private room. Yang Ming changed his sad expression from before and became extremely calm. He walked over and closed the door of the private room. Then, he walked back casually, sat on the sofa, and shrugged. The annoying guy is finally gone. He ruined my mood. Ha! Sun Jia finally couldn't help but laugh. At first, it was a normal laugh. However, after laughing for a while, Sun Jia laughed until tears came out. I have never seen such a stupid person who can be scared by the resentful spirit. I'm really speechless. Xiao Ying was still shy and gloomy at first. At this moment, she couldn't help but be affected by Sun Jia's emotions and laughed along with her. Is it that funny? Yang Ming looked at the two beauties who were laughing and was a little depressed. How am I making up a lie? There is a technical content in it, okay? In order to scare this Fan Jinja, I used my special ability twice. However, I'm afraid that only Fan Jinja can understand the mystery behind it. Sun Jia and Xiao Ying didn't know that the reason why Fan Jinja was so scared was that Yang Ming had guessed what he was thinking. They thought that Fan Jinja was a timid person. Why isn't it funny? I didn't expect Fan Jinja to be so timid. Sun Jia laughed for a long time and finally finished laughing. She sighed and said, Xiao Ying, this kind of man is too insecure. When you are in danger, he will be the first to run away. He is faster than a rabbit. Originally, I wanted you to consider it, but now it seems that you should forget about it. It was fine if Sun Jia didn't say it. Once she said it, it brought up the past in Xiao Ying's heart. She remembered that time when she and Yang Ming encountered robbers. She thought about how Yang Ming stood in front of her without hesitation. When it came to a sense of security, the first person that Xiao Ying thought of was Yang Ming. As for Fan Jinja, Xiao Ying didn't even consider it. Thinking of all the things in the past, Xiao Ying couldn't help but show a fascinated look on her face. Xiao Ying sighed softly. The past is the past after all. I'm a little tired. I want to go back and rest, said Xiao Ying. Ah. You haven't started eating yet, and you want to leave. Sun Jia was stunned and immediately understood. Xiao Ying must be hiding from something. She may feel that the current situation is a bit awkward and wants to go home and have some peace. I'm not eating. You guys eat. Xiao Ying's tone was still soft, but there was an imposing manner in her words that couldn't be refused. Well, then we will send you back first. Yang Ming also knew that today was not a good time to talk. With Sun Jia present, Xiao Ying couldn't let go. Although she already knew her relationship with Sun Jia was not Xiao Qing. Although she and Sun Jia were good friends, their relationship with Xiao Qing and Sun Jia were two completely different natures. It was not a bad thing to let Xiao Ying have some peace first. When it was quiet, she would talk to Xiao Ying alone and try to untie her knot. No need. I can go back by myself. Xiao Ying waved her hand. It's not too late now. There are so many taxis at the entrance of the hotel. You don't have to worry. Seeing that Xiao Ying was so determined, Yang Ming had no choice but to say, then I will send you downstairs. Is that okay? This time, Xiao Ying couldn't refuse and could only nod. Little Jia, you wait for me in the private room. I will go down and send Sister Ying. Yang Ming stood up and put on his coat. Calling me little Jia, calling me Zhao Ying, sistering, Yang Ming, doesn't this seem a bit wrong? Sun Jia heard Yang Ming's confusing address. She glanced at him and hinted, I am about the same age as Zhao Ying. Ugh, then I will call you Little Ying in the future. Yang Ming looked at Zhao Ying and asked. Don't. Little Ying doesn't sound good. Zhao Ying glanced at Sun Jia helplessly, blaming her for being talkative. Yang Ming and I haven't reached that kind of relationship. Calling her sistering is naturally not wrong. Sun Jia is Yang Ming's girlfriend. Although she is older than Yang Ming, it is not a problem to call her little Jia. It doesn't matter what the couple calls each other. Yang Ming smiled awkwardly and went out of the private room with Zhao Ying. Chapter 1602. Then, should I still call you sistering? In the elevator, Yang Ming asked Zhao Ying tentatively. N. Zhao Ying responded softly. Yang Ming wanted to find some more topics to talk about, but he found that Zhao Ying was not in a good mood today. After thinking about it, he decided to give up. In this case, if he forced himself to say something meaningless, it would be counterproductive and make everyone feel awkward. It was better to wait until Zhao Ying woke up, then talk about it. After leaving the hotel, Yang Ming saw Fan Jinja standing in the hotel parking lot at a glance. He couldn't help but be amused. Beside Fan Jinja was parked his Honda Accord, and in front of him was a Toyota Camry. Fan Jinja's front was bumped into the back of the Camry. Both cars were seriously damaged. It seemed that Fan Jinja was in a trance after coming out of the hotel. He was not concentrating while driving, so he bumped into the car in front of him. Zhao Ying obviously also saw Fan Jinja in the parking lot, but she didn't seem to be interested in Fan Jinja. She just glanced at him faintly, then withdrew her gaze and ignored him. Seeing that Zhao Ying was not interested, Yang Ming did not stay any longer. Instead, he walked with Zhao Ying to the taxi waiting area on the side. Ha! Seeing one of the taxis, Yang Ming's eyes couldn't help but light up. Seeing this car, Yang Ming pulled Zhao Ying and walked over quickly. Why are you still walking? Have we all passed by? Zhao Ying pointed to the taxi parked in the first position and asked Yang Ming. We met an acquaintance. Let's take his car, Yang Ming said to Zhao Ying, this way, I can rest assured. Oh. Zhao Ying nodded. The taxi driver who was waiting in the first position was also a little puzzled. These two people did not get into his car, but instead walked towards the car behind him. What was the meaning of this? The driver was a little depressed when he saw Yang Ming greet the driver of the taxi behind. He suddenly realized that they knew each other. There was nothing he could do. Brother Kuan. Yang Ming walked over, opened the door of the taxi, and shouted inside. Yang Ming. Why are you here? Sun Kuan also raised his head in surprise. He sighed inwardly at how small the world was. He actually encountered this twice in one day. Hee, I'm eating here. Yang Ming pointed at the international hotel behind him and said, Brother Kuan, can I trouble you with something? Can you help me send my friend home? That's not a problem. Sun Kuan agreed without even thinking. Your friend, huh? When Sun Kuan's gaze fell on Zhao Ying, he couldn't help but be stunned. When he first met Yang Ming had this girl with him. At that time, Yang Ming also performed a good play of a hero saving a beauty. At that time, Sun Kuan thought that this girl was Yang Ming's boyfriend. But later, Yang Ming did not bring this girl out again, and Sun Kuan never saw Zhao Ying again. So, after that, he forgot about it. Especially after seeing Chen Mengyan and Lin Jiyun, Sun Kuan thought that he misunderstood. Zhao Ying was not Yang Ming's boyfriend. But today, when he saw Zhao Ying again, Sun Quan couldn't help but be stunned. When he saw Yang Ming holding Zhao Ying's hand again, he was even more suspicious. Is this also Yang Ming's girlfriend? Then, this little brother of mine is too powerful, right? Sister Ying, Master Sun Quan, Brother Quan, do you still remember? Yang Ming pointed at Sun Quan and asked Zhao Ying. Ah. You are the taxi driver from the past. Zhao Ying felt that Sun Quan was a bit familiar before. When she heard Yang Ming's question, the original situation flashed in her mind. She remembered that Sun Quan was the taxi driver who teased her and Yang Ming that they were a couple. Thinking of this, Zhao Ying couldn't help but blush. She followed Yang Ming and called Brother Quan. I didn't expect to meet an acquaintance today. Then, let's get in the car. Sun Quan said with a smile. Yang Ming opened the door of the taxi and let Zhao Ying get in the car. They realized that they were still holding each other's hands. They couldn't help but feel embarrassed, so they quickly let go. Previously, Yang Ming took Zhao Ying to find Sun Quan. It was just an instinctive action. In order to let Zhao Ying follow behind him, he subconsciously held Zhao Ying's hand. As for Zhao Ying, she didn't think much at the beginning. Instead, she was naturally held by Yang Ming. She didn't feel anything wrong. Until now, she was shy. Brother Quan, help me send Sister Ying home. I have to go back to the hotel. Yang Ming said to Sun Quan. You don't want to get in the car together. That's not a problem. Although Sun Quan felt a little strange, he nodded and agreed. Where are we going? Huashang District. Yang Ming said, Sister Ying, I am relieved that Brother Quan is sending you. And, you can go back. Zhao Ying nodded to Yang Ming. Although her current mood was somewhat indescribable, Zhao Ying couldn't show anything with Sun Quan next to her. Seeing Sun Quan's car leaving with Zhao Ying, Yang Ming sighed and turned to walk toward the hotel door. With Sun Quan sending Zhao Ying home, Yang Ming wasn't worried that anything would happen to Zhao Ying. He looked up in the direction of Fan Jinjia and found that he was still waiting there anxiously. He might be waiting for the traffic police to deal with it or for the insurance company. Back in the private room, Yang Ming and Sun Jia were not in a good mood because of the previous incident with Zhao Ying. After eating quickly, Yang Ming took Sun Jia to his attic villa on the top floor of the hotel. As soon as the door was closed, Sun Jia threw herself on Yang Ming. There was no need for too many words. The two people hugged each other tacitly as if they were venting their previous depression. Listening to the sound of Sun Jia taking a shower in the bathroom, Yang Ming smiled bitterly in his heart. Among his women, Sun Jia and Lan Ling were the most passionate in that aspect. If he hadn't gone through special assassin training and had extraordinary physical strength, he probably wouldn't have been able to handle it if it were someone else. Looking at the wall clock in the hall, it was already 1:00 in the middle of the night. Sun Jia and I actually spent 5 or 6 hours, picking up the gift that Suya gave him before she left. Yang Ming hesitated for a moment. He didn't open it but put it back in its original position. This gift was given to him by Suya in the identity of the superstar Suya. There might be something that could hint at Suya's identity. However, Yang Ming already knew the identity of Suya now. This gift had become not very important. In order not to disappoint himself, Yang Ming decided not to open it. He would just keep it as it was. It could be regarded as a romantic memory of himself and the superstar Shuya. Sometimes, there were some things that were too obvious, which was not beautiful. Yang Ming, why are you dawdling? Why don't you come over and help me scrub my back? Sun Jia's reproachful voice came from the bathroom. Do you not want to get on my bed at night? Yang Ming listened to Sun Jia's words. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It's me. If it were another person, they would be eager to get on your bed now. Who can stand this high-intensity exercise for several hours in a row? Yang Ming felt that Sun Jia had been suppressing her lust for a long time, and she vented it all in one night. I'm coming. However, Yang Ming still stood up and walked in the direction of the bathroom. Since I have chosen such a path, then I will let myself be tired and happy in the future. Also, by the way, bring me the facial cleanser in my bag. Sun Jia added another sentence. Oh. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. Sun Jia, a strong woman, was also an ordinary person at home. Chapter 1603. Something big happened in Songjiang today. One of the Mingjiang escort company's cash transport vehicles disappeared for no reason. If it was just an ordinary cash transport vehicle, it wouldn't cause such a commotion. However, this missing vehicle was transporting hundreds of millions of yuan in cash. According to the regulations of the escort company and the bank, each escort vehicle could not transport more than 10 million yuan in cash at a time. However, this escort vehicle was transporting hundreds of millions of yuan in cash. If this escort vehicle had no problems and completed its mission safely, it might not cause such a commotion, and no one would pay attention to it. However, this escort vehicle had disappeared. As a result, everyone's attention was immediately attracted to this matter. The topic on the internet had also shifted to this matter. At first, some people suspected that the escort vehicle was hijacked. Later, some people speculated that there was a mole in the escort company. In an instant, the public opinion had become one-sided. News articles such as Mingjiang Escort Company has serious management problems, Mingjiang Escort Company embezzles itself, Mingjiang Escort Company's vice captain embezzles hundreds of millions, and so on instantly emerged. Many netizens began to question why there was only one vehicle escorting so much cash. Was this premeditated? This could reflect that the management of the Mingjiang Company was chaotic and that there were internal problems. However, the vice captain of the escort team embezzled itself. This could more or less show that the overall quality of the Mingjiang Escort Company's team was low. They appointed people based on favoritism and did not employ the right people. In short, the reputation of the Mingjiang Escort Company fell to the bottom in an instant. There were more and more voices of doubt in society. They thought that a security company that had just been established for less than a year had entered the bank escort business. Wasn't this a bit too hasty? Was there some shady business going on behind the scenes? Jing Xiaolu was called over by Lu Huamei from the school cafeteria. Jing Xiaolu almost fainted on the spot when she heard that one of the escort company's cash transport vehicles had disappeared for no reason. 100 million yuan. How much money is that? Jing Xiaolu thought, it's so much money. If it's really gone, how many lifetimes will it take for me to pay it all back? Jing Xiaolu almost got into an accident on the way to the company. She overtook all the cars to the company and went straight to Lu Huamei's office. The atmosphere in the company was very gloomy. It seemed that everyone had received the bad news. In the eyes of the employees of these companies, if the 100 million yuan could not be recovered, this newly established escort company would definitely be dragged down by the debt. Sister Huamei. Jing Xiaolu didn't bother to knock on the door. She directly pushed open the door to Lu Huamei's office and rushed in. Sister Huamei, have you contacted Lu Xiaolei? Xiaolu, you're here. Lu Huamei forced a smile and shook her head. No, I've tried all the contact methods. This person seems to have vanished from the face of the earth. Did you call the police? Jing Xiaolu felt a chill in her heart when she heard Lu Huamei's words. It seems that Lu Xiaolei has most likely absconded with the money. I've already reported it, but there's no news yet. Lu Huamei sighed. She never thought that the Mingjiang Escort Company that she was in charge of would have such a huge mistake. Although according to the contract, the Song Jiangmingyang Security Company played the leading role in the operation, and she was only an assistant. This incident had already caused a fatal blow to her. If such a huge mistake occurred in the small company that she was in charge of, the consequences would be obvious if it were a large group. As a result, she had less hope of competing for the position of the group's leader. When the time came, her cousin Lu Jinan would definitely not let it go easily. At this moment, Lu Jinan was sitting in the office very proudly. He held a cup of fragrant tea in his hand and said to Lu Jifei, who was standing at the side, "Have you arranged for Lu Xiaolei?" "It's already arranged. He's going to be smuggled into Russia from Bianhai City," Lu Jifei said. "I have a friend who mingles with the underworld in Russia. He's there to help, and don't make any mistakes." Lu Jinan nodded. "Jifei, you're my confidant. You should know that this time, I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. So, you can't let anything go wrong. Don't worry, Brother Nan. If you have a problem, I can't run away either," Lu Jifei said. "So, no matter what, I will arrange it properly. However, there's something that I don't know if I should say. Jifei, I already said that you're my confidant. What are you hiding from me?" Lu Jinan frowned and said somewhat reproachfully. "Then, Brother Nan, I'll say it. Don't be angry." Lu Jifei hesitated and said, "Actually, there's no such thing as an airtight wall in this world. There's only one way to prevent future troubles." "One way? What do you mean?" Lu Jinan was slightly stunned, but then his expression changed slightly. "Jifei, do you mean, that's right?" Lu Jifei saw that Lu Jinan also thought of this, so he nodded and said, "Only the dead will not speak. Only you and I will know this secret. You and I are grasshoppers on the same rope. No one will seek their own death. But Lu Xiaolei is different. I can't trust this person, but this is murder. That's against the law." Although Lu Jinan was a bit sinister, he had not yet developed a ruthless heart. When he heard that Lu Jifei wanted to silence him, he was immediately a little scared. "Brother Nan, those who achieve great things don't bother about trifles." Lu Jifei said, "There is a saying that a great man must be ruthless. In order to achieve great things, Brother Nan, you can't leave behind a ticking time bomb." "But I haven't done anything to kill people yet." Lu Jinan hesitated. "Planning to rob an escort vehicle is also a capital offense. Brother Nan, you have to think carefully." Lu Jifei said anxiously. "But these two natures are different." Lu Jinan was still a little hesitant. "Brother Nan, think about it. Once Lu Xiaolei can't hold back and returns to China in the future, you and I will have to spend the rest of our lives in prison." Lu Jifei said, "Moreover, you don't have to worry about this matter, Brother Nan. As long as you agree, I will take care of everything. Who can find out if you kill someone on the high seas?" "This, okay." Lu Jinan hesitated and finally nodded. Lu Jifei was right. A great man must be ruthless. If this matter was spread out, it would be a fatal blow to him. "Brother Nan, I will arrange it now." Lu Jifei's eyes flashed with a hint of ruthlessness. "Brother Pu, the boss gave us new instructions. We will do something on the ship when we sneak in. Your people won't meddle in other people's business, right?" A bald man said as he handed a stack of cash to the man called Brother Pu. Brother Pu weighed the banknotes in his hand, glanced at the bald man, and nodded slowly. "I will say hello to my men. I know that Brother Pu is the most reasonable." When the bald man saw that Brother Pu had accepted the money, he was relieved and showed a satisfied smile on his face. This bald man was Li Zhan, Lu Jifei's loyal lackey. He was a ruthless person. He used to be an outlaw. Later, he met Lu Jifei and saw his opportunity. He knew very well that no matter how ruthless he was in society, he was still insignificant. He had no backing or background. Everything was just floating clouds. Only by relying on a strong backer could he live a good life and achieve success in the future. Therefore, Li Jian decisively turned to Lu Jifei. Although he looked down on Lu Jifei in his heart, this was also the highest level of people that Li Jian could come into contact with. Li Jian could not come into contact with any more powerful people. When Lu Jifei successfully curried favor with Lu Jianan and became Lu Jianan's confidant, Li Jian realized that he really had a good eye. He did not follow the wrong person. Once Lu Jianan was promoted, Lu Jifei would be a meritorious person, and his identity would also rise. Although Li Jian knew that there were more benefits to following Lu Jianan than Lu Jifei, he was a smart person and not a fool. He did not think that Lu Jianan would use him again after he changed sides. Compared to Lu Jifei, he had no place in Lu Jianan's heart. If Lu Jifei still held a grudge against him and said a few bad words in front of Lu Jianan, who Lu Jianan would believe, the result could be imagined. Therefore, Li Jian did not expect anything else. It was already good enough to follow Lu Jifei and mingle well. This time, personally sending Lu Xiaolei to Russia was the time for him to show his loyalty to Lu Jifei and Lu Jianan. The suggestion to kill Lu Xiaolei was also made by him to Lu Jifei. Otherwise, with Lu Jifei's temperament, he could not be so ruthless and decisive. Chapter 1604. Lu Xiaolei, you are just a chess piece. From the day you walked into Lu Jianan's office, you were destined to end up like this. Li Jian looked at Lu Xiaolei's longing face and sneered in his heart. Brotherly, I have packed up. When will I board the ship? Lu Xiaolei looked at his watch and was a little nervous. After all, he had committed such a big case. If he was caught, it would be a capital offense. Just wait for Brother Pu's ship. Don't worry. You will definitely be able to leave today, Li Jian said faintly. That. Brother Lu promised me the money before. Is there a problem? Lu Xiaolei asked with some concern. Don't worry. You won't be short. It will be transferred to your account in Russia in batches through wire transfer. Li Jian said, Brother Lu also wants you to help keep the secret. He won't burn the bridge after crossing it. That's good. I was just asking. Lu Xiaolei was relieved after hearing Li Jian's words. Li Jian also made sense. Lu Jianan and Lu Jifei had to keep it a secret. He was not afraid that they would burn the bridge after crossing it. If they didn't fulfill their promise, then he would take them down with him even if he had to risk the death penalty. The ship is here. Let's go. Li Jian glanced at the text message on his phone, then raised his head and walked in the direction of the port. Lu Xiaolei quickly followed behind. From now on, he would be wandering in a foreign land. Lu Xiaolei did not regret what he had done. He could leave a sum of money for his younger brother and cure his old father's illness. What was his sacrifice? Moreover, he was not very miserable now. At least he had a lot of money in his hands. After arriving in Russia, he could live a good life under the protection of the Chinese gangs. Thinking of this, the depression in Lu Xiaolei's heart dissipated a little. However, he did not know that from the moment he boarded the ship, his legs would never be able to set foot on land again. Everything went well. Lu Jifei received a text message from Li Jian. He was relieved and said to Lu Jianan, Brother Nan, Li Jian has killed Lu Xiaolei. Very good. Lu Jianan was also relieved, no one else knows, right? At that time, there was only one of Snakehead's men in charge of smuggling in Bianhai City. Lu Jifei said, such a person will not meddle in other people's business. That's good, Lu Jianan nodded and picked up the phone. He was ready to scold his sister, Lu Huamei. Now that all future troubles had been resolved, it was time for him to show off his skills. Lu Jinan dialed Lu Huamei's phone. Lu Huamei frowned when she saw the caller ID on the phone. She didn't want to answer this call. Lu Jinan was calling at this moment. Lu Huamei could guess what Lu Jinan wanted to do even if she used her toes to think. However, Lu Huamei still picked up the phone in the end. She was not a person who was afraid of trouble. A person who only knew how to avoid responsibility when something happened would never achieve great things. Hello, big brother, Lu Huamei picked up the phone. Huamei, I heard that something happened to you. What's going on? Grandpa has already asked. Lu Jinan's first sentence was to bring up Lu Jiangyan. Big brother, you are quite well informed, aren't you? Lu Huamei replied coldly. She already knew that Lu Jinan was up to no good, but she didn't expect him to be so impatient. He jumped out as soon as the phone was connected. Ha! Lu Jinan laughed, the internet is already abuzz with the news. I'm not considered well informed. The one-sided public opinion on the internet that was unfavorable to the Mingjiang escort company was basically published by Lu Jifei's people. How could Lu Jinan not know? Is that so? Lu Huamei asked faintly. Huamei, it's not that big brother is scolding you. Previously, when Lu Xiaolei was making a ruckus at the headquarters, I told you in advance that this person might have some problems in his heart. I told you to pay more attention to him. Look, you didn't care at that time. Now, you're finally in trouble, right? Lu Jinan said with a sigh, Huamei, you are still too young. Lu Jinan was very proud now. His foresight had become a bargaining chip for him to climb up the ranks. Lu Huamei still made such a mistake even after his warning. It was conceivable that Lu Jiangyan would not consider letting her take over his position no matter how much he doted on her. After all, the fate of the group was not a joke. Even if Lu Huamei was capable, it was not enough for the company's helm to be capable. It was not a problem for capable people to start a business, but sometimes, keeping the business was more important than starting a business. If she wanted to keep the business, then it seemed that Lu Huamei was definitely not the best candidate now. Big brother, you didn't call at this time just to say this, right? If so, then I'm sorry. I'm very busy here. I don't have time to chat with you. Lu Huamei's tone became stiff. That's not it. Huamei, listen to your big brother's advice. You are still too inexperienced now. I will suggest to Grandpa to let you continue to study in school during the next board meeting. You can come back to take over the company's affairs when you are truly successful in your studies. Lu Jinan didn't talk nonsense with Lu Huamei anymore. Since Lu Huamei refused a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, Lu Jinan was ready to shed all pretense of cordiality. Such a day would come sooner or later anyway. Sister Huamei, who called? Why are you so angry? Seeing that Lu Huamei was so angry that her chest was heaving up and down, Jing Xiaolu asked with concern. It's nothing. It's my big brother. Lu Huamei shook her head. He wanted to use this matter to make things difficult for me during the board meeting. It seems that he finally couldn't hold it in anymore. It's like this. Jing Xiaolu knew that this was Lu Huamei's family matter. She couldn't butt in. My big brother just mentioned Lu Xiaolei again. He said that he reminded me before to pay attention to Lu Xiaolei. Now that something really happened to Lu Xiaolei, it confirms his foresight. This time, sigh. Lu Huamei felt physically and mentally exhausted. Lu Huamei was exiled to Songjiang, but Lu Jinan still didn't relax his vigilance against her. He wouldn't let go of any opportunity to attack her. Lu Xiaolei. Jing Xiaolu frowned. Sister Huamei, I suddenly have a strange feeling when you say that. What feeling? Lu Huamei asked. Sister Huamei, do you think that there is some unspeakable secret between Lu Xiaolei and Lu Jinan? Jing Xiaolu pondered for a while and said, I always feel that there is something fishy about this matter. There is an indescribable feeling. Oh. Lu Huamei was slightly stunned. Xiaolu, do you mean that my big brother is involved in Lu Xiaolei's matter? I don't know if Lu Jinan is involved or not, and I can't be sure. But I think that Lu Jinan seems to know that Lu Xiaolei wanted to pocket the banknotes in the escort car in advance. Jing Xiaolu said, because I remember the call he gave you before to ask you to pay attention to Lu Xiaolei. According to the Lu Jinan we know, he shouldn't be so kind. So I always feel that there is something fishy about this matter. Xiaolu, now that you mention it, I also have this feeling. Could it be that my big brother really knows about Lu Xiaolei's matter? Lu Huamei's brows gradually furrowed. If Jing Xiaolu's guess is true, then Lu Huamei didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Her big brother actually hid such a big thing in order to deal with her. I'm not sure if it's true or not now. Let's wait and see. Jing Xiaolu sighed and pointed at the window. Let's solve the problem in front of us. There are already reporters crowding the company downstairs. They want us to come out for an interview to find out the truth. Chapter 1605. When he woke up in the morning, Yang Ming didn't know about the incident at the escort company. However, even if Yang Ming knew about it, he wouldn't be too anxious. From Yang Ming's point of view, since something happened, he would try his best to solve it. It wasn't a big deal. Sun Jia hadn't woken up yet. It was obvious that she was exhausted last night. Yang Ming's biological clock had been formed. After waking up in the morning, he did a simple training plan. Then, he called for a cup of soy milk and opened his laptop to surf the internet. This rare leisure time had not been available for a long time. During this period, Yang Ming felt that he seemed to have something to do every day. He was busy for a few months. Yang Ming opened QQ and unexpectedly found that Wild Female Teacher, which was also Zhao Ying's avatar, was lit up. Zhao Ying was usually invisible, but because she had a good relationship with There's No True Love in This World, she set up Invisible but Visible. Why are you online so early in the morning? Yang Ming clicked on Wild Female Teacher's avatar and sent a smiley face emoji. It didn't take long for Wild Female Teacher to reply, but what she sent was a sleepy emoji. Why are you online so early? Don't you have class today? Asked Yang Ming. Wild Female Teacher replied quickly, aren't you early too? Besides, it's already 8:00. It's not early. It seems that you are online even earlier, said Yang Ming. I didn't sleep well last night. What's the point of early? Wild Female Teacher complained and sent a bomb emoji. Didn't sleep. It can't be. Yang Ming felt awkward. He thought about Zhao Ying's situation last night. It was possible that she didn't sleep well last night. However, he and Sun Jixiao had a good time last night. It didn't make sense. It made Yang Ming feel bad. Why not? Well, let's not talk about this. How about playing Fight the Landlord with me for a while? Said Wild Female Teacher. Okay. Yang Ming didn't expect Zhao Ying to have the mood to play Fight the Landlord at this time. However, since she wanted to play, he would play with her. Songjiang Netcom District 4, Room 12. Hurry up, said Wild Female Teacher. Coming. Yang Ming opened the game client and logged in. After a while, an idiot named Sharp Knife took the initiative to sit at the table where Yang Ming and Zhao Ying were. The game started. Wild Female Teacher didn't bid. Sharp Female Teacher foolishly bid. Yang Ming received a message from Wild Female Teacher. I can definitely win this round. If you have any bombs, quickly throw them out. Oh. Yang Ming replied. After sharp female teacher threw out a 3, Yang Ming threw out a set of 4 sevens bombs. Sharp female teacher was stunned. After a long time, she sent a shocked expression. She thought to herself, how can you throw out your cards like this? It's simply not following the rules. Could it be that after he threw the bombs, a hand of cards can be thrown out at once? Just when sharp female teacher was in doubt, Yang Ming threw out a small 3. Sharp female teacher really met a master this time. She thought to herself, is this person held back by the 3? He threw a set of bombs just to throw out a 3. Isn't this too strong? You are too obvious. What did you throw out? Did you forget how to cheat? Wild female teacher was a little dissatisfied with the way Yang Ming threw out his cards. Yang Ming was speechless and smiled bitterly. He really hadn't cheated with Zhao Ying for a long time. Just now, in order to please Zhao Ying, he threw out the bomb in excitement after seeing Zhao Ying's words, which led to this result. Yang Ming thought for a while and typed on the screen, fuck, my hand trembled and I clicked on the wrong button. I clicked on the hint. Once he saw Yang Ming's explanation, sharp female teacher was suddenly happy. So that's why. I was shocked. I thought this guy had some big cards behind him. So it was a mistake. It seems that I met someone who didn't know how to play cards. That's good. I can take the opportunity to win more from him. After typing hee on the screen, sharp female teacher waited for wild female teacher to throw out her card. Zhao Ying sent Yang Ming a rolling eyes emoji. Originally, she could have thrown out her card directly after Yang Ming's card, but she was afraid that sharp female teacher would be suspicious, so she casually put in a card. Sharp female teacher threw out a 2 to block the card. Yang Ming didn't want it, so he passed. Zhao Ying threw out a set of 4 as. Sharp female teacher was stunned again. What does this mean? Could it be that wild female teacher also clicked on the wrong hand? Isn't this too exaggerated? Just as he was waiting for the next part of the game in shock, wild female teacher threw out all the cards in her hand. Sharp female teacher lost 4 times his points. Sharp female teacher was a little speechless. This time, she didn't make a mistake. She really had the confidence to throw out the cards. He lost so badly. However, it couldn't be helped. Who asked her to have such good cards? If there was anyone to blame, it was that there's no true love in this world who threw out an extra set of, as a result, causing the points to double for no reason. However, since sharp female teacher lost, so be it. He didn't believe that such a strange thing would happen again in the second round, so he continued to draw. In the second round, Yang Ming and Zhao Ying still didn't bid. Sharp female teacher continued to bid. You have to be careful this time. Wild female teacher reminded Yang Ming in advance. Don't worry. I wasn't used to it just now, Yang Ming replied. In this round, although Yang Ming and Zhao Ying were still colluding with each other to cheat, it was very difficult for them to win. They didn't reveal anything, so sharp female teacher didn't suspect anything. In the end, he could only blame himself for losing because of bad luck. In the third round, as he was afraid that sharp female teacher would suspect something, Yang Ming called once. However, he still lost in the end. In the fourth round, Zhao Ying called and won by a narrow margin. This made sharp female teacher, who had just won against Yang Ming, lose again. Back and forth, although Zhao Ying and Yang Ming would lose, they didn't lose much. Sharp female teacher lost very badly. In the end, he couldn't take it anymore. He thought that his luck wasn't good, so he left the room. Therefore, Yang Ming and Zhao Ying waited for the second idiot to come. Needless to say, this world didn't lack idiots. Another idiot called Fishman X2 entered the room. The final result of this, Murloc X2, who had come with a threatening aura, could be imagined. After losing endpoints, he finally returned in low spirits. How is it? You've won enough today, right? Are you feeling better? Yang Ming saw that no one came, so he sent a private message to Zhao Ying. I'm fine. Oh yeah, how did you know that I'm in a bad mood? Wild female teacher threw out a question. Yang Ming was shocked. He looked at the chat history from before. Wild female teacher indeed didn't tell him that she was in a bad mood. He thought that she was Zhao Ying and knew that she was in a bad mood. That was why he asked that question. He didn't expect that he would almost be exposed. However, Yang Ming quickly explained, you didn't sleep well last night. You even asked me to accompany you to earn points early in the morning. I guess you must be in a bad mood again. Yang Ming deliberately added the word again. He meant that she was like this when she was in a bad mood in the past. That was why he came to such a conclusion. That's true. You know me quite well. Wild female teacher saw Yang Ming's explanation and didn't think much about it. Hee, that's right. We're good friends now. Of course, I know you well, said Yang Ming. We've known each other for more than half a year, right? Time flies. It's been so long in the blink of an eye. Wild female teacher said emotionally. Yeah, I guess we'll become an online relationship if this continues. Yang Ming tried to make a joke. Wild female teacher sent an ellipsis. She was obviously not interested in Yang Ming's joke. What's wrong? Is there a problem? Asked Yang Ming. Nothing. Let's not talk about this anymore. Wild female teacher was confused. When she saw Yang Ming's message, she thought about it carefully. Unknowingly, there's no true love in this world seemed to have integrated into her life. When he talked about online relationships, Zhao Ying suddenly realized that he was really her best male friend on the internet. Chapter 1606. Alright, tell me why you're in a bad mood. Yang Ming knew that Zhao Ying wasn't a casual person. It would be difficult for her to accept him through the internet, so Yang Ming decided to take it slow. Being too aggressive wasn't a good thing. Actually, it's nothing. Wild female teacher didn't seem to want to talk about what happened yesterday. Could it be that you saw the person you like with one of your good friends again? Yang Ming saw that Zhao Ying didn't seem to want to talk about it, so he decided to provoke her. After he sent the message, Zhao Ying didn't respond for a long time. Could it be that she was scared by me? Yang Ming couldn't help but feel anxious. However, wild female teacher finally replied, how did you know? I guessed. Yang Ming sent 2 words hypocritically. That's amazing. I finally know what the Emperor of Truth is. Wild female teacher exclaimed. It can't be. I just said it casually. You told me last time, so I remembered it. This time, I just casually brought it up. Yang Ming explained. Actually, I'm not in a bad mood this time. I don't feel as sad as last time. Instead, I feel very natural. It's just that I feel a little disappointed. Wild female teacher said. Wait a minute. You're saying that your person is with another good friend of yours. What about the previous one? Yang Ming pretended to be surprised and asked. Of course, they continue to be together. I told you before that he has a few girlfriends. Wild female teacher said. Is that so? Your person is really a god. Yang Ming laughed and sent the message. Yang Ming, who are you chatting with so early in the morning? Sun Jia had woken up. She was holding a cup of hot water and wearing a nightgown. She walked over and stood behind Yang Ming and asked. Xiao Ying. Yang Ming said. Oh. Sun Jia nodded casually. Suddenly, she spat out the hot water that she just drank onto Yang Ming's computer screen. What did you say? Xiao Ying. Yang Ming looked up speechlessly. Is there a need to make such a fuss? My poor computer, it's probably going to be finished. Isn't it just a laptop? What's the big deal? I'll compensate you later. Sun Jia said indifferently. She leaned over and moved closer to the computer screen. Let me see what you guys are talking about. Wow, you've hooked up with her already. What hooking up? You will know when you see it. Yang Ming didn't hide it and directly transferred the computer screen to Sun Jia. The nightgown was loose. When she lowered her head, all the naked things inside the nightgown were revealed. It made Yang Ming a little restless. He couldn't help but reach out and touch it. Don't mess around. Wasn't it enough to touch last night? Sun Jia hit Yang Ming's hand and then pulled her chest tight. But she didn't expect Yang Ming's hand to reach in again from the bottom of the nightgown. Sun Jia really didn't know what to do this time. She glared at Yang Ming and no longer paid attention to him. She looked at the content on the computer screen. The first few words were nothing. The more she looked at Sun Jia's expression, the more interesting it was. In the end, she finally couldn't help but laugh. Yang Ming, aren't you too talented? Are you playing Infernal Affairs? Xiao Ying still doesn't know that this person is you. She probably doesn't know. Yang Ming nodded. God. Aren't you embarrassed to boast like this? Sun Jia couldn't help but mock him. I'm just telling the truth. Yang Ming shrugged. What do you think I should do now? How do I know what to do? Who knows that things between you two are so complicated? Sun Jia had a headache when she thought of the relationship between Yang Ming and Xiao Ying. It wasn't that Sun Jia didn't want Xiao Ying and Yang Ming to be together, but Xiao Ying's character really made Sun Jia feel like a doe that couldn't be helped. She wouldn't leave even when she was chased, and she would only retreat when she was led. It's not too complicated. Who knew that you brought her here yesterday? Yang Ming smiled bitterly. Then you're blaming me. Sun Jia rolled her eyes at Yang Ming. However, the words that you and Xiao Ying said on the internet reminded me. I think that with Xiao Ying's character, it is difficult to have any breakthroughs and progress in your current situation. Xiao Ying's character is too indecisive. It's better for you to slowly develop an online relationship with her on the internet. Develop an online relationship. Yang Ming was stunned. Are you serious? Of course, you first get Xiao Ying on the internet, and then ask her to meet, Sun Jia said. Say something on the internet first. When you meet, even if Xiao Ying retreats, the relationship that has been established before can't be changed. Yang Ming listened to Sun Jia's words and fell into contemplation. Sun Jia's method was also a strange one. Maybe it could really achieve unexpected results. Then I'll try. Yang Ming nodded. Aren't you jealous? Jealous? I don't have that free time. I have to go back to Donghai today. The company's affairs have not been completely finished. Tian Donghua, the little guy, couldn't handle it himself. He kept complaining to me, said Sun Jia. Don't care about him. It's time to let him hone himself. He has to endure the hardships to be the best, said Yang Ming. Well, I'll be back in a few days. Besides, you can't accompany me every day, right? Sun Jia touched Yang Ming's forehead. Be good. Sister will bring you a gift back. Then I want an MP4, said Yang Ming. MP4. Sun Jia was stunned, and then she thought of something. Sun Jia, who was rarely shy, blushed this time. The MP4 that Yang Ming said probably referred to the MP4 that had special content when they first met. At that time, Sun Jia just saw that Yang Ming was a virgin and wanted to tease him. But now it seemed that she was seducing Yang Ming. Just kidding. Go early and come back early. Yang Ming smiled. Be careful. Sun Jia nodded. Yang Ming, why do I feel that you are older than me? You are not old, said Yang Ming seriously. Really? But am I really older than you? Sun Jia now regarded herself as a child in front of Yang Ming in many situations. Although this feeling was good, Sun Jia felt that she was pretending to be young. You are not big except for your chest. Yang Ming stood up and hugged Sun Jia's shoulder. Well, don't think so much. I still like you to be more casual. Oh. Sun Jia responded and suddenly pointed at Yang Ming's screen. Zhao Ying is talking to you. Take a look. For Sun Jia's behavior of changing the topic, Yang Ming just smiled slightly and didn't expose it. He opened the chat window of a wild female teacher. There is another person in the room. Let's continue. Hey, why don't you show your cards? What are you doing? Why don't you show your cards? Are you there? That person is gone. What are you doing? Not here. I am going to school. There is a class at 10 o'clock. Let's talk next time. Just as Yang Ming and Sun Jia were talking, wild female teacher sent several messages. Yang Ming glanced at the profile picture of a wild female teacher. It had turned gray. It seemed that she had gone offline. Sorry, something happened just now. Let's meet next time. Yang Ming replied apologetically. Yang Ming was about to turn off the computer, but a dialog box popped up at the bottom right of the computer. Initially, Yang Ming didn't care about it. After a casual glance, his face became dignified. He quickly clicked on the news with the mouse. Songjiang Mingjiang Escort Company, a cash truck carrying hundreds of millions of banknotes mysteriously disappeared. It is suspected that there was a management oversight and an internal crime. This was a news about the disappearance of the cash truck Lu Xiaolei was in. Yang Ming knew that this Mingjiang Escort Company was a subsidiary company jointly established by his Mingyang Security Company and the Jiangyan Group. He didn't expect such a big thing to happen. Chapter 1607. Hey, isn't this your company? I've heard of it. When it was established a while ago, it was even on TV. Sun Jia also saw the news that Yang Ming opened. She couldn't help but exclaim, Yang Ming, aren't you too excited? The company was just established, and such a big thing happened? Hundreds of millions of yuan. What's going on? Yang Ming frowned. He was a little unhappy. Although 100 million yuan was nothing to Yang Ming, he was a little annoyed that no one had informed him about such a big matter after such a long time. The news had already appeared on the internet, but no one had informed him. Isn't the efficiency of my subordinates a little too slow? He took out his phone and was about to call Bao Sanli, but he was shocked to find that the phone had run out of battery and turned off automatically. Could it be that Bao Sanli had already looked for me? Did he find out that my phone was turned off? After changing the battery, Yang Ming turned on the phone and dialed Bao Sanli's number. Brother Yang. The phone only rang once before it was picked up. Then came Bao Sanli's anxious voice, Brother Yang, you finally turned on your phone. I have been looking for you all morning, where are you? Didn't you know that I was at the International Hotel? Asked Yang Ming. International Hotel. Brother Yang, you are at the International Hotel. I didn't know. Bao Sanli repeated with some doubts, I was just nearby. Should I rush over now? Yang Ming heard Bao Sanli's words and couldn't help but be stunned. He immediately understood that he only asked Bao Sanli to book a private room for a meal at the International Hotel yesterday. He didn't tell Bao Sanli that he would stay here, so it was reasonable that Bao Sanli didn't know that he was here. I have a general understanding of the matter. It's about the Mingjiang Escort Company, right? Yes, Brother Yang, you already know, said Bao Sanli. It has already become the hot news on the internet. If I still didn't know, then I would be blind. Yang Ming said in a bad mood, what the hell is going on? How did such a big thing happen? Are there any secrets? I don't know if there are any secrets. I just found out about it not long ago. Xiaolu has been in charge of the affairs in Mingjiang, Bao Sanli said. Okay, I got it. I'll ask little Jia to deal with it. Yang Ming said helplessly. He thought to himself, these people like Bao Sanli are still a little inexperienced in the business world. Previously, Mingyang Entertainment had a vicious incident where the vice president absconded with funds. Now, there are similar mistakes. Isn't this too frequent? Okay, Brother Yang. I'm sorry. Bao Sanli said carefully. Forget it. You just need to stabilize the situation. Don't mess up. Yang Ming said, you must not mess up at this time. Don't worry, Brother Yang. I know. Bao Sanli promised. I have already mobilized the security company's people to Mingjiang to prevent our own people from messing up. Sure enough, when Yang Ming was browsing the relevant news, the previous incident of the vice president of Mingyang Entertainment was also linked together by the reporters and dug up. They also ridiculed and questioned Mingyang's management problems. Of course, most of these network reporters were from other places. The local reporters were afraid of Bao Sanli's power. Naturally, they didn't dare to write nonsense. They simply and objectively reported the incident. Let me deal with it. Sun Jia naturally heard Yang Ming's words. Jing Xiaolu is alone. I'm afraid I can't handle it. Yang Ming said, I can rest assured if you take charge. Jing Xiaolu. I seem to have heard of this name. Sun Jia frowned. It seems to be the vice president of Mingyang Entertainment. It is said that she is your little lover. Who did you hear that from? Yang Ming sweated. He didn't expect Sun Jia to have heard of Jing Xiaolu. Bao Sanli said it. Who else do I know? Sun Jia said, but don't blame Bao Sanli for being nosy. When I asked him something, he was also very embarrassed. I got it. Yang Ming waved his hand. He wouldn't blame Bao Sanli for such a small matter. As Sun Jia said, when Sun Jia asked Bao Sanli a question, it was really difficult for Bao Sanli to answer or not. However, the number is a bit big. Sun Jia browsed the news again and then said to Yang Ming, I can deal with it, but you have to give me the authority. Don't think that I can't deal with it when I'm done. Do you think I'm a dictator? Yang Ming shrugged. That depends on when. Sun Jia smiled charmingly. Hey, you have 100 million, right? What do you think? Yang Ming rolled his eyes. I don't, but you don't. Then it's done. Didn't you just lose 100 million? Just give it to the bank first. It won't lose the company's reputation, and it can also stabilize people's hearts. As for whether you can get back that 100 million, it's none of my business. Sun Jia said casually. Yang Ming nodded and agreed with Sun Jia's way of dealing with it. Although he didn't care about the 100 million, the current Yang Ming was worth more than 100 million. However, Yang Ming wouldn't allow some rascals to do anything under his watch. Lu Jianan had already reported Lu Huamei's mistake to the old master Lu Jiangyan through the mouths of others. Although the old master didn't say much, Lu Jinan believed that old master Lu must have started to doubt Lu Huamei's ability from this incident. Lu Huamei might be very good at doing business, but she wasn't Lu Jinan and Lu Jifei's opponent when it came to scheming. Is the 100 million in a safe place? Lu Jinan glanced at Lu Jifei and asked. It's still in the old abandoned factory under your name. It hasn't been touched. Lu Jifei replied respectfully. It wasn't that he didn't think about the money in the warehouse, but after careful consideration, he decided to forget about it. After all, there were many consecutive numbers in this money. It wasn't easy to spend it. Moreover, would Lu Jinan let him go once he touched this money? The most important point was that although Lu Jifei was very greedy and wanted to keep this 100 million, it was obvious that Lu Jinan didn't care much about this 100 million. What he cared about was the entire Jiangyan group. With the Jiangyan group, this 100 million was nothing. Therefore, while Lu Jifei didn't act rashly, he was still pleasing Lu Jinan. He fantasized that one day, when Lu Jinan became the helm of the Jiangyan group, this 100 million might become his reward. At that time, it would be peaceful and wouldn't attract attention if he took it out and used it. Then don't touch it first. Lu Jinan nodded. But this move of yours is quite bad. It is equivalent to directly putting the Ming Jiang company into a dead end. This 100 million is nothing to our Jiangyan group, but it is a disaster for that newly established small company. Jifei, do you still have selfish motives? Brother Nan is wise. Lu Jifei didn't dare to hide. I do have a grudge with the behind-the-scenes boss of the Ming Yang company, Yang Ming. I also want to take the opportunity to mess with Jing Xiaolu and Su Xiaobin, those two bitches. N. Lu Jinan nodded in satisfaction at Lu Jifei's honesty. He had already investigated these things in advance. He asked at this time to test if Lu Jifei was hiding anything from him. Remember, you have to be consistent with me in the general direction. As for your little thoughts, I don't want to care. Lu Jinan nodded in satisfaction at Lu Jifei's honesty. Brother Nan, you can rest assured. I am wholeheartedly working with you. Lu Jifei quickly promised. And, look at the news. How is Ming Jiang? Lu Jinan sneered and instructed Lu Jifei. The reporters we sent to cause trouble should have already arrived at Ming Jiang's office building. Okay. Lu Jifei nodded, turned on the TV, and changed the channel to Song Jiang's finance channel. The Ming Jiang group will hold a press conference at 9:00 sharp today. This channel will broadcast the whole thing live for you. The host's voice came from the TV. A press conference. Lu Jinan heard the content of the news and smiled contemptuously. I was afraid that you would avoid it. If you hold a press conference, it will save me some trouble. When the time comes, see if the reporters I find won't question you to death. Lu Huamei, you have no choice but to die. Chapter 1608. After Lu Huamei and Jing Xiaolu discussed it, they decided to hold a press conference first to appease the reporters downstairs. If they asked the company's employees casually, the answers they would get would be even more varied. Coupled with these people's imaginations, who knew what would happen in the end? Jing Xiaolu couldn't help but want to call Yang Ming a few times, but she held back in the end. From the moment she made up her mind not to be a pretty face, she wanted to show some results to Yang Ming. However, this year was unlucky. Someone tampered with the contract negotiations previously, and it wasn't easy to calm the storm. Now, something like this happened again. It really made Jing Xiaolu anxious. The phone rang. Jing Xiaolu glanced at the caller ID. It was Bao Sanli, Brother Bao. Xiaolu, Brother Yang already knows about the situation here and has sent people over. You guys can hold on for a while and wait for them to arrive. Bao Somli was afraid that Jing Xiaolu couldn't handle the pressure, so he gave her a call in advance to cheer her up. Phew. Jing Xiaolu breathed a sigh of relief. However, she still felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. Since Yang Ming took action, the trouble on her side would definitely decrease. However, was this really the result she wanted? Xiaolu, what's wrong? Looking at your expression, it seems like there's some good news. Lu Huamei was also very anxious at this moment. Although Ming Yang was the major shareholder according to the contract, Lu Huamei couldn't escape if the company really suffered a loss. The most important problem was that the Jiangyan Group's headquarters attitude was very ambiguous and unclear. Lu Huamei called her grandfather, but she didn't expect her grandfather to just say, "I understand," faintly after listening to Lu Huamei's description. He didn't say anything else. Grandfather Lu's attitude made the entire Jiangyan Group wait and see. Although Ming Jiang was also a joint venture company of the Jiangyan Group, no one stood out to express their support for Ming Jiang. Yang Ming sent people over to solve the problem. Jing Xiaolu said with a complicated expression. Yang Ming. It's Yang Ming again. Who is this person? Lu Huamei muttered in her heart, but said, "Let's go. We'll go to the conference room first." The reporters were all invited to the conference room. It was agreed that the meeting would be held at 9 o'clock. Regardless of whether the person on Jing Xiaolu's side could come or not, they had to deal with the current situation first. Jing Xiaolu and Lu Huamei walked into the noisy conference room. The voices of the reporters who were discussing with each other became softer. The conference room only quieted down when Jing Xiaolu and Lu Huamei sat on the rostrum. "All right, before the press conference, please allow me to introduce myself. I am Lu Huamei, the Executive Vice President of the Ming Jiang Escort Company. This is Jing Xiaolu, also the Executive Vice President." Lu Huamei said, "This press conference was decided to be held at the last minute, so it wasn't fully prepared. Although it's called a press conference, it's actually just a question and answer session. This is because we didn't get any accurate information after the incident. The police are still investigating everything. Like all of you, I don't know anything about this matter." Lu Huamei let out a sigh of relief after she finished speaking. The reason why she said these things in advance was that she was afraid that the reporters would pester her with these questions. "It's great now. We don't know anything either. So when you ask questions that we can answer." Lu Huamei's words stunned the reporters who were ready to launch an attack. Many of the words that were on the tip of their tongues couldn't be said. The atmosphere suddenly became cold. "Vice President Lu, the Ming Jiang Company has made such a big mistake this time. As one of the parent companies, what will the Jiangyan Group's attitude be?" This reporter was arranged by Lu Jinan. He originally wanted to wait for the others to ask questions first before standing up to ask. However, Lu Huamei's words completely pushed away the questions that the reporters wanted to know the most. For a moment, no one stood up to ask questions. It should be known that most of the reporters here were here to find out the inside story, not to make things difficult for Lu Huamei. Since Lu Huamei didn't know anything like them, why were they still here? No matter if what Lu Huamei said was true or false, they couldn't do anything when she said that the police had to keep the case confidential. Lu Huamei glanced at the reporter who asked the question. It was a new face that she had never seen before. She stopped guessing his identity and answered directly, "Although the Ming Jiang Escort Company is a new joint venture company established by the Jiangyan Group and the Ming Yang Security Company, as I said before, this is a new company. Although the Jiangyan Group owns the shares, our operations are independent." Lu Huamei didn't know if the reporter could understand her explanation. All in all, Lu Huamei was secretly afraid. It seemed that many of these reporters were here for her. She wouldn't believe that all of this had nothing to do with her elder brother. So that's the case. Then, the Mingjiang Escort Company lost hundreds of millions of yuan this time, and their whereabouts are unknown. How will Mingjiang fill this loophole? The reporter continued to ask. As far as I know, Mingjiang's new company doesn't have many assets. If the Jiangyan group behind it doesn't show up, how will you deal with it? Lu Huamei was more and more certain that her elder brother sent this reporter here to make things difficult for her after listening to the reporter's unhurried words. How we fill this loophole is our company's internal matter. This isn't the content of this press conference, right? Lu Huamei was still worried about how to fill this loophole, so she could only deal with it this way. I heard that Vice President Lu is still holding the position of the Jiangyan Group's financial director. With Vice President Lu's position, it shouldn't be difficult for him to mobilize the Jiangyan Group's funds to fill this loophole, right? Another reporter began to ask, is it really like what the outside world said? Vice President Lu was promoted on the surface but demoted on the inside. Although he is the group's financial director, all of his power has been taken away. It is said that Vice President Lu was one of the most competitive successors of the Jiangyan Group. This time, there was such a big mistake. Will this successor position be excluded? What does the Jiangyan Group's old master Lu think about this matter? The Jiangyan Group hasn't made any response yet. Does this mean that the Jiangyan Group has given up on the Mingjiang Escort Company? Is there some hidden meaning in this? Does this mean that Vice President Lu has also been given up? Can the Mingjiang Escort Company survive this disaster without the support of the Jiangyan Group? Lu Huamei couldn't respond to the sharp questions that were thrown at her one after another. Lu Huamei finally realized how insidious her elder brother was. He actually took this opportunity to attack her. Jing Xiaolu was also secretly anxious when she saw that Lu Huamei was troubled by the reporter's questions. If this goes on, this press conference will definitely be a mess. Jing Xiaolu couldn't care so much anymore. She grabbed the microphone and said to the reporters below, "Everyone, please be quiet for a while." Seeing that Jing Xiaolu had spoken, the aggressive reporters reluctantly stopped their questions. However, they still had an expression of wanting to get to the bottom of it. This is the Mingjiang Escort Company's press conference, not the Jiangyan Group's press conference. Moreover, everyone, don't put the cart before the horse. Yes, the Jiangyan Group is one of the shareholders of the Mingjiang Escort Company, but the Mingyang Company is the biggest shareholder of the Mingjiang Escort Company. We are also the ones who play the leading role in the operation. Therefore, Miss Lu Huamei can refuse to answer your questions. Jing Xiaolu said, if you really want to know about the Jiangyan Group, I suggest you interview the Jiangyan Group. Okay. Since you said so, how does the Mingyang Company intend to deal with this matter? The reporter who asked the question first was unhappy with Jing Xiaolu's interruption. Therefore, he targeted Jing Xiaolu again. Anyway, he was here to cause trouble today. It would be fine as long as he could mess up this press conference in the end. Chapter 1609. Jing Xiaolu didn't expect this guy to be so difficult to deal with. She had just changed the topic, and he was already targeting her. The person in charge of our Mingyang Company has already rushed over. I believe he will be here soon. Jing Xiaolu thought of what Bao Sanli had said to her before, so she said calmly, don't tell me that everyone doesn't even have this little bit of patience. Jing Xiaolu spoke at a steady pace with a smile on her face, giving people a natural affinity. Therefore, even if some of the people below were unwilling, they couldn't do anything at this moment because most of the peers nodded in agreement with Jing Xiaolu's statement. They came here to seek the truth and to seek first-hand reports, not to chase after someone who couldn't make the decision. In their opinion, since Jing Xiaolu said that the person in charge had rushed over, Jing Xiaolu naturally had no right to make the decision. Instead of asking Jing Xiaolu some useless questions, they might as well wait for the person who could actually make the decision. At the Jiangyan Group's headquarters, Lu Jinan and Lu Jifei watched the Mingjiang Escort Company's news report live and drank tea with relish. Why is this little girl with the surname Jing taking the lead? Lu Jinan was a little annoyed. She should have embarrassed Lu Huamei more. Grandpa must be watching the live broadcast. His impression of Lu Huamei won't be reduced by just a little bit. It doesn't matter. Let her be proud. Lu Jifei waved his hand indifferently. This time, I just want to play Jing Xiaolu to death. I have also checked the background of the Mingyang Group. They only have 100 million in liquid capital in their hands. If they use all of it to fill the hole this time, then their capital chain will be broken instantly, and the entire group won't be far from bankruptcy. Really? That's great, Lu Jinan nodded. I really want to see my good sister begging the old man to clean up her mess at the board meeting. I feel so good just thinking about it. The old man will clean up her mess. Lu Jifei was stunned after hearing Lu Jinan's words and asked. That's for sure. Lu Jinan waved his hand and said, Lu Huamei is a member of the Lu family no matter what. How can the old man ignore such a prideful person? However, my good sister can forget about being put in an important position in the future. Isn't that what we want? Lu Jifei quickly said after listening. Then, I have to congratulate Brother Nan. You played a big part in this matter as well. Lu Jinan patted Lu Jifei's shoulder and said, Don't worry. I won't treat you badly. If there is a chance, I will suggest to the old man to arrange a position for you in the group. That won't be necessary. Lu Jifei refused. Brother Nan, don't go against the old man for me. It's not worth it. Moreover, isn't it good for me to do something behind your back? Well, that's true. It's fine as long as you can accept it. Lu Jinan nodded. Call those reporters. Tell them not to waste any more time and to continue making things difficult for Lu Huamei. Yes. Lu Jifei quickly picked up his phone, dialed the numbers of those reporters, and gave them a few instructions. At the press conference, the reporter who made things difficult for Lu Huamei stood up restlessly again. Vice President Jing, we have been waiting for a long time, but your so-called person still hasn't arrived. I think we should ask Vice President Lu about the Jiangyan Group's attitude first, right? Even if the person in charge comes, he can only represent your Mingyang company. He can't represent the Jiangyan Group, right? That's right. We want to continue asking questions. Another reporter who received Lu Jifei's instructions also stood up. For a moment, the atmosphere at the press conference became chaotic again. Some people began to get restless. Lu Huamei frowned and glanced at Jing Xiaolu with a helpless expression. How could Lu Huamei not know what these people wanted to do? Wasn't it because her elder brother wanted her to make a fool of herself more? The more she made a fool of herself today, the slimmer her chances of competing for the group's successor would be in the future. At this moment, the door of the conference room was pushed open. A graceful figure walked in slowly. Many of the reporters present widened their eyes when they saw the person who came in. It was impossible for them not to recognize the person who came in. Sun Jia was the princess of the Hongjun Group, the largest company in the provincial capital, Donghai. She was the current president of the group. Even if they hadn't seen her in person, they knew Sun Jia's identity after being reminded by their peers. Due to Donghai's special status in the province, the reporters who were invited by Lu Jinan to ruin the press conference could ignore Song Jiang's Bao Sanli. However, they didn't dare to offend Donghai's Sun family. Although the Sun family had the intention of retiring from the world since the beginning of this year, and the whereabouts of the Sun family's old master and the Tian family's old master were unknown. It was said that they went abroad for inspection. However, the family's affairs were managed by their second-generation children. The current helmsman of the Sun family was Sun Jia other than Sun San, while Tian Donghua was in charge of the Tian family. These reporters knew that the Sun family and the Tian family had been operating in Donghai for more than 10 years. Their complicated network and influence in the province were not people they could afford to offend. Compared to Bao Sanli, the Sun family only had a little influence in Songjiang. They were nothing outside of Songjiang. This was also the main reason why these reporters dared to be arrogant here. The reporter who had previously made things difficult for Lu Huamei was about to continue making things difficult. However, he couldn't help but shrink his neck when he saw Sun Jia coming in. He really couldn't afford to offend this woman. It was better to see her intentions first. Vice President Jing Xiaolu, right? Sun Jia didn't care about the reporters' discussions and surprised gazes. She walked directly to the rostrum, glanced at Jing Xiaolu, and nodded to her with a smile. Yes, you are. It was Jing Xiaolu's first time seeing Sun Jia. She was considered an old employee of the Ming Yang Company, but she had never seen Sun Jia before. Therefore, she was a little confused. I am Yang Ming's wife. Sun Jia smiled at Jing Xiaolu naturally. Ah. Jing Xiaolu was shocked. Her face couldn't help but turn red. Yang Ming's wife is here. Is she here to settle accounts with me? For a moment, Jing Xiaolu's thoughts turned into whether Sun Jia would find trouble with her. As for the company's troubles in front of her, she had completely forgotten about it. Let's talk about it after the press conference. Sun Jia glanced at Jing Xiaolu. It seems that Yang Ming really cares about you, his little lover. He hurriedly woke me up from my bed early in the morning and rushed here to help you. Ah. Jing Xiaolu was a little dumbfounded. After Sun Jia finished speaking, she no longer cared about Jing Xiaolu. Instead, she took the microphone, turned on the switch, and placed it in front of her. I believe that many of you know me. However, let me introduce myself first. I am Sun Jia, the president of the Donghai Hongjun Group. I am also the Ming Yang Group's the assistant to the chairman. Wow! The people present were in an uproar after hearing Sun Jia's self-introduction. It was nothing when Sun Jia introduced her as the president of the Hongjun Group. Sun Hongjun had appointed Sun Jia as the president a month ago. This was no longer news. However, it was the first time they heard that Sun Jia was the assistant to the chairman of the Ming Yang Group. Was there any relationship between the Ming Yang Group and the Hongjun Group? Sun Jia's appearance and her short self-introduction suddenly changed the atmosphere of the scene. Those who originally thought that the Ming Jiang Escort Company would definitely be finished this time completely changed their thoughts with Sun Jia's words. With the support of Sun Jia's Hongjun Group, what obstacles could not be overcome? What problems could not be solved? Perhaps, the people present don't know much about the Ming Yang Group, so I will briefly explain the structure of the Ming Yang Group today. This is also the first time that the people of the Ming Yang Group have made a detailed explanation in public. Sun Jia waited for the people to calm down before she slowly said. Sun Jia's words once again caused an uproar among the reporters present. Previously, when Sun Jia mentioned the Ming Yang Group, most people thought that Sun Jia had said something wrong. She had mistakenly said that the Ming Yang Company was the Ming Yang Group. A group, as the name suggested, was a group. In layman's terms, it was a company with diversified management. It had subsidiaries in many fields, and when the parent companies gathered together, it formed a group enterprise. The Ming Yang Security Company only had one joint venture subsidiary, the Ming Jiang Escort Company. It was too much of a stretch to call it a group. Under the Ming Yang Group, there is Ming Yang Entertainment. I believe that some people have already understood the relationship between the Ming Yang Security Company and Ming Yang Entertainment. There are also Ming Yang Real Estate, the Nightless Club, and the Songjiang International Hotel. However, I believe that everyone is familiar with the most famous wholly owned subsidiary. That is Mingyang Heavy Industry. Sun Jia slowly introduced. Chapter 1610. Sun Jia didn't give up until she said something shocking. Mingyang Heavy Industry. When the name of this company came out, the reporters below were dumbfounded. Mingyang Heavy Industry and Mingyang Security Company are also brother companies. They are also under the same group. Is this true? In fact, there were many companies with the same name or similar names. It was not a strange thing. Therefore, although Mingyang Heavy Industry and Mingyang Security Company were both called Mingyang, no one would link the two companies together, and no one would think that there would be any unusual relationship between the two. With Sun Jia's introduction at this time, everyone finally understood what kind of powerful background the Mingyang Security Company had. Not to mention that Sun Jia's Hongjun Group was behind it. It was very easy for a Mingyang Heavy Industry to fill this 100 million yuan hole. Fuck. Lu Jinan listened to Sun Jia's words and smashed the teacup on the TV. Previously, when Lu Jinan saw Sun Jia appear at the venue, he secretly felt that something was wrong. He naturally knew Sun Jia. She was the little princess of Donghai. Her background was not weaker than his. Even his family's old man, Lu Jiangyan, was a peer when he met Sun Jia's father. If they were to really call each other, he was still Sun Jia's junior. When he heard Sun Jia say that she was the assistant to the chairman of the Mingyang Group, this bad feeling was even stronger. Is Sun Jia here to stand up for the Mingyang Company? However, when he heard that Mingyang Heavy Industry, which was in the limelight in the province, was also a wholly owned subsidiary of the Mingyang Group, this time he was completely dumbfounded. Why does this Mingyang Security Company have such a strong background? It can't be, right? Am I dreaming? Didn't I want to trick them with Lu Jifei before? This background is not weaker than the Jiangyan Group at all, and it is even stronger. Lu Jifei. Didn't you fucking say it already? You have already investigated the background of Mingyang Security Company. What the fuck is going on? Lu Jinan was angry. This time he was really angry. Why is there a Mingyang Group above this Mingyang Security Company? This. Lu Jifei was also dumbfounded. I went to the Industry and Commerce Bureau to check before. Mingyang Security Company was funded by a person named Bao Sonli. Why is there a group above? You idiot. Just because the legal person is different doesn't mean that they don't have the support of the parent company. Lu Jinan said angrily, this time, we are in big trouble. Yang, Brother Nan, don't be angry. Even if the Ming Security Company has such a background, it has nothing to do with you. What do you mean? Lu Jinan asked. Brother Nan, even you don't care much about 100 million yuan. Do you think that the old man cares about this 100 million yuan? Lu Jifei said, so, it doesn't matter whether the old man gave this 100 million yuan. What's important is that Lu Huamei has already made a big mistake. Even if the matter is settled, the problem of her ability is already very obvious. Does it still matter whether the old man gives this 100 million yuan or not? Oh. What you said makes sense. Lu Jinan nodded after listening to Lu Jifei's analysis. She still got away with it. Brother Nan, in this situation, it doesn't matter whether it got away with it or not. I think it's time for us to perform. Lu Jifei hesitated and said. Our performance. What performance? Do you have any other tricks up your sleeve? The other party's background is not weak. We shouldn't act rashly for a while. Lu Jinan said with a frown. It's not a trick up our sleeve. It's time for our Jiangyan Group to make a statement. Since the other party has already made a statement, our people can't fall behind. Lu Jifei said, Brother Nan, you should also stand up now and make a statement to support Lu Huamei. Help her bear the responsibility of our Jiangyan Group's shares. Oh. Lu Zhinan thought carefully, then slapped his thigh and exclaimed, Brilliant. What a brilliant plan. Jifei, you're very timely in hindsight. Since Lu Huamei's crisis has been resolved, why don't I be a good person and let the old man see how tolerant I am? That's what I mean. Lu Jifei nodded. So, at the same time that the Mingjiang Escort Company held a press conference in Songjiang, the executive vice president of the Jiangyan Group, Lu Zhinan, suddenly announced to the media that he was willing to pay a portion of the 100 million yuan that the Mingjiang Escort Company had lost. Regardless of whether the lost 100 million yuan could be recovered, the Jiangyan Group would help the company get through the crisis. At the Mingjiang Escort Company's press conference, Lu Huamei immediately received Lu Zhinan's message and his decision. Lu Huamei snorted coldly in her heart. My big brother really knows how to put on a show. He really knows how to choose the right time. He only came out and pretended to be a good person after seeing that we've gotten through the crisis. However, Lu Huamei still politely replied to his message and thanked him. This bitch. It seems that she also realized something. Lu Zhinan fiercely pressed the delete button when he saw Lu Huamei's message with hidden daggers in it. Brother Nan, what's the big deal about Lu Huamei not realizing it? Chapter 1611. You're also Yang Ming's lover. Sun Jiao looked at Lu Huamei from head to toe. She felt that it would be intolerable if Yang Ming let go of such a classic beauty like Lu Huamei. Me? Lu Huamei was stunned and looked at Sun Jia blankly. Although Lu Huamei was usually ostracized in the Lu family, no one dared to joke with her when it came to relationships. The old man would definitely not feel good if he found out about this kind of thing that crossed his bottom line. Lu Huamei, on the other hand, began to replace her father after she quit school. She worked hard in the Jiangyan Group and schemed against Lu Zhinan. How would she have time to have a boyfriend? Therefore, she was still in a completely blank state when it came to relationships. Usually, no one would mention such a topic to her. At home, her mother served by her father's bedside all day long. She didn't have many chances to meet Lu Huamei. Although most of the people in the group were from the Lu family, how many of them really cared about Lu Huamei's personal affairs? Perhaps even the old man didn't want Lu Huamei to get married so soon. Firstly, it was because Lu Huamei could serve the Lu family for a few more years. Secondly, it was because Lu Huamei's marriage could be used as a bargaining chip in the business. Therefore, Lu Huamei was dumbfounded when Sun Jia asked such a sensitive question. Even though she was talented in business, she was still a blank when it came to relationships. She really didn't know what to say after being teased by Sun Jia. Sun Jia was slightly stunned after seeing Lu Huamei's reaction. You're not. I'm not either. Jing Xiaolu answered Sun Jia's question without waiting for Lu Huamei to answer. I know you. It's just that you're ambiguous and not completely together. Sun Jia glanced at Jing Xiaolu and said. Ah. Jing Xiaolu blushed at Sun Jia's words. This, you even know this. Sun Jia was quite proud when she saw Jing Xiaolu's embarrassed look. She then looked at Lu Huamei. Don't tell me you also have such a relationship. Me? Lu Huamei finally recovered from her shock and shook her head. You got it wrong. I don't know Yang Ming. We haven't even met before. Oh. Sun Jia carefully looked at Lu Huamei's expression. It didn't seem like she was lying. Sun Jia then apologized. I'm sorry, I got it wrong. It's nothing. Lu Huamei shook her head. After all, Sun Jia had helped her and the company out of trouble. Even if Sun Jia made fun of her, it was just a harmless joke. How could Lu Huamei really be angry? She was a little Sun. Lu Huamei naturally knew who Sun Jia was. Although she hadn't been in the business world for a long time, Lu Huamei had heard a lot about Sun Jia, a famous person in the province. The two of them tried not to meet as much as possible. They each had their own lives and didn't interfere with each other. However, since Xiao Ying's involvement yesterday, Sun Jia had to consider a series of problems derived from facing Chen Mengyan in the future. There was no intersection between Sun Jia and Chen Mengyan. However, with the addition of Xiao Ying as a link, it indirectly increased the danger of the two sides meeting. Xiao Ying was Chen Mengyan's teacher and her good friend. Especially when she knew about Chen Mengyan's temper, Sun Jia had to take some precautions. After seeing Jing Xiaolu, Sun Jia had the idea of pulling her into her camp. Even if she couldn't succeed immediately, she could be a little spy by Chen Mengyan's side. In the worst case, she wouldn't help either side in the end, which basically achieved the results Sun Jia wanted. Jing Xiaolu pursed her lips and vaguely guessed Sun Jia's intention. She couldn't help but hesitate. She naturally couldn't do something to betray Chen Mengyan. Not to mention that she wasn't Yang Ming's girlfriend. Even if she was, she wouldn't do such a wicked spy thing. However, she couldn't bear to lose the opportunity to learn from Sun Jia. It seems that it's easy to talk to a smart woman. Sun Jia saw that Jing Xiaolu understood her meaning and smiled slightly. She didn't need to explain anything more. I still lack an assistant. Are you interested? It's not necessary. It's good here now. It's also good training. Jing Xiaolu struggled for a long time in her heart. Finally, she made a decision and refused Sun Jia's temptation. Although she would grow faster if she followed Sun Jia, was that still her original intention? She originally wanted to be able to take charge alone, help Yang Ming deal with some things, and reduce some of the burden for Yang Ming. However, if she really went against Chen Mengyan with Sun Jia, wouldn't she be looking for trouble for Yang Ming? Sun Jia didn't say anything, but Jing Xiaolu faintly guessed her thoughts. It should be close to the mark. It was better for her not to participate in this kind of thing. Oh. Then forget it. Sun Jia was just thinking about it on the spur of the moment. Seeing that Jing Xiaolu could still control herself, she didn't say anything else. You are really good training here. There are troubles all the time. Sun Jia's slightly sarcastic words made Jing Xiaolu blush a little, but she couldn't blame her. Ming Jiang was indeed not smooth from the beginning. If there is any trouble, just call me at any time. Sun Jia handed a business card to Jing Xiaolu. I understand your thoughts. I won't make it difficult for you. In fact, I don't want such a day to come. Chapter 1612. Sun Jia's words made Jing Xiaolu slightly stunned. Originally, she thought that Sun Jia wanted to win her over to go against Chen Mengyan, but listening to Sun Jia's last casual sentence, it seemed that she didn't want to do so. Could it be that there is something that I don't know about, but it is forced to happen? Jing Xiaolu had an ominous premonition in her heart. Sun Jia knows Chen Mengyan, but Chen Mengyan doesn't know about Sun Jia's existence. With Chen Mengyan's temperament, if she knew about this, what kind of reaction would she have? It had to be said that a woman's sixth sense was still very keen. A conspiracy against Yang Ming and all his women was slowly unfolding. Yang Ming also watched the live broadcast of the press conference on TV and sighed secretly. Sun Jia was really dishonest. She actually revealed such an inside story, but it also successfully diverted the attention of the reporters and successfully resolved the company's crisis this time. Shaking his head, although most people might not have noticed, the moment Sun Jia went on stage, she turned off the microphone and whispered to Jing Xiaolu. Others didn't hear it, but Yang Ming, who could read lips, saw it clearly. This kind of small detail, I am afraid that only Yang Ming would pay attention to it, but he wasn't worried that others would know anything. She gave Jing Xiaolu a warning as soon as she went up. This Sun Jia. Yang Ming shook his head. Sun Jia's unwillingness to be under others really gave Yang Ming some headaches. This was also the reason why Yang Ming had not told Qin Mengyan about Sun Jia, because Yang Ming was really afraid that something disharmonious would happen in his family. The phone rang. Yang Ming thought it was Sun Jia, but when he looked at the phone number, it was Xiao Bingbao. Brother Bingbao, why are you here? I was just looking for you. Yang Ming picked up the phone and said casually. Brother Bingbao. What Brother Bingbao? Don't call me that. Xiao Bingbao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You can either call me Brother Xia or Captain Xia. Don't say these messy names. Oh, then Brother Xia it is. The reason why I joined you guys now is because I want to help. I don't have the sense of being superior or subordinate, Yang Ming said. So, Captain Xia, forget about it. All right, as you wish. Xia Bingbao said, I have already asked about the matter you told me last time. Don't worry. Xia Wenjin and others are basically more than 10 years old. 10 years. That's a little short, but it doesn't matter, Yang Ming said faintly. If Yang Ming wanted to kill a few people, he could do so with a single thought. If the king of assassins' disciple wanted to kill someone, who would be able to live well? Second generation of the fishman. Don't mess around and ask me to wipe your ass again. Xia Bingbao warned after listening to Yang Ming's words. I won't do it. I have a good relationship with the people of the butterfly family. This is not a secret. I believe you all know it. The matter between Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan was a big deal in Europe a while ago. Yang Ming's whereabouts were not a secret in the eyes of people like Xia Bingbao. Yang Ming didn't mind that Xia Bingbao would know more about him now. It didn't matter as long as there was no practical evidence. He could completely deny it. Hee hee. Xia Bingbao laughed dryly. It seemed that he knew something about Yang Ming's relationship with the assassin organization, as Yang Ming said. Well, don't give me any trouble. Xia Bingbao reminded, also, the matter of you going to Yunnan's Miaojiang has been settled. This operation is very dangerous. In addition to using you as a trump card, we will also send someone to assist you. This person is also a trump card in our hands. He is currently training in California in the United States. After a while, he will arrive in Songjiang and meet you. Then, you, Xia Shui, and he will go to Yunnan together. Wait, you said Xia Shui is going too? Yang Ming frowned. What is she going to do in such a dangerous place? This, cough cough. Xia Bingbao coughed twice. It's an arrangement from above, to let her experience it, above. Yang Ming was stunned. Cough cough. It's my boss. Xia Bingbao explained awkwardly. Your boss. Let her experience it. You are not in the same system, right? Yang Ming was inexplicable by Xia Bingbao. Actually, my grandfather is also Xia Shui's, said Xia Bingbao. Yang Ming was a little speechless. It turned out to be such a relationship. I knew that Xia Shui's background was not simple. It turned out that she had such a backer. Could it be that Xia Shui's grandfather is in charge of this supernatural investigation bureau? Well, I know that you have a good relationship with my sister. Take care of her along the way, said Xia Bingbao. Although I don't want her to go, there is no other way. I don't have the final say. Damn, you are just finding trouble for me. Yang Ming said helplessly, don't you know how dangerous Elder Yu is? If I go, I might just be going to die. Why are you so unconfident? Since you can handle Elder Yu the first time, you can handle him the second time. Moreover, this time I have received the latest news. It is a very important news, said Xiao Bingbao. Oh. What news? Asked Yang Ming. Before the famous Chinese medicine practitioner, Mr. Li Sifang, disappeared 3 years ago, a student reported that the last person they saw looked very similar to Elder Yu. Said Xiao Bingbao. So you suspect that this Mr. Li Sifang was caught by Elder Yu? Yang Ming rolled his eyes. You don't want me to save this Li Sifang again, right? Yang Ming, I found that your special ability has the ability to foresee, shouted Xiao Bingbao. Fuck off. Yang Ming said angrily, who is this Li Sifang? Why haven't I heard of him? He is the descendant of Li Shizhen. He is a very powerful Chinese medicine practitioner. His acupuncture skills are superb. Unfortunately, before he was caught, there was no descendant who got the true essence. Although there are several students, none of them have learned the true essence of Mr. Li. Xiao Bingbao sighed. Li Shizhen. Yang Ming rolled his eyes again. You are not fooling me, right? No, I am telling the truth. I also know that this mission is very dangerous, but... Xiao Bingbao said until here and couldn't continue awkwardly. But you still decided to let me go, right? Yang Ming continued, it's not easy to be cannon fodder. I might die. Don't say that. Li Sifang has medical skills that can bring the dead back to life. You have to save him. In the future, if your relatives and friends have any difficult illnesses, Mr. Li Sifang will definitely do his best to save them, said Xiao Bingbao. Can't you say something nice? Yang Ming sighed. Can I refuse? No, said Xiao Bingbao affirmatively. Then why are you still discussing with me? Just inform me directly. You are wasting my breath. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. You were the one who asked me before, okay? Xiao Bingbao was also speechless. Well, I will agree to this matter for the time being, but I can only try my best. I can't guarantee anything. If my life is endangered, I will save my life first, said Yang Ming straightforwardly. Okay. Xiao Bingbao agreed readily. He didn't want Yang Ming to die. Then let's put this matter aside first. I still have something to look for you, said Yang Ming. You haven't done anything for me yet, and I am already your errand boy. Xiao Bingbao couldn't help but be angry when he heard Yang Ming's words. You, kid, are really unwilling to suffer losses. Don't I think that as a member of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, I should be low-key? Otherwise, I will do it myself. Said Yang Ming seriously. Forget it. If you have anything, let me do it for you. Xiao Bingbao was shocked and said quickly. Help me find a person called Lu Xiaolei. He used to be the vice captain of the Mingjiang Escort Company, said Yang Ming. Well, I will call you when I find him. Xiao Bingbao was relieved when he heard that it was this kind of thing. He was afraid that Yang Ming would find him for some trouble again. Chapter 1613. Yang Ming's days once again became dull. Every day, in addition to going online to cheat and playing Do Diju with Zhao Ying, waiting for a few fools to be fooled, they gradually talked more about each other. Yang Ming planned to listen to Sun Jie's advice and pursue Zhao Ying on the internet. He had to admit that through experiments, Yang Ming found that Sun Jie's move was still very effective. On the internet, Zhao Ying was not as shy as in reality. Even if they talked about some sensitive topics, Zhao Ying would consider for a long time before answering, instead of retreating directly like in reality. Yang Ming naturally would not express any love for Zhao Ying at the beginning, but he gradually catered to her interests. Zhao Ying was very clear about what topics Yang Ming liked, so the two people seemed to have more common topics. Chen Mengyan, Lin Jiyun, and Zhou Jiejia also resumed their study life every day. Yang Ming occasionally went to school, but most of the time when Chen Mengyan and others were not at home, Yang Ming would sneak out to have a private meeting with Sun Jie, Xiao Qin, and Wang Xiaoyan, or chat with Wang Leilei and Zhao Ying on the internet. Occasionally, he would think of Jing Xiaolu and Shen Yushi, and send text messages to each other. Yang Ming's intense and exciting life in the past suddenly turned into this extremely dull old life. Just when these girls were enjoying the warmth of Yang Ming's days at home, only Wang Xiaoyan and Victoria, who were assassins, noticed something wrong with Yang Ming. In Wang Xiaoyan's villa, Victoria was also there. Wang Xiaoyan and Victoria were not strangers. The two people knew each other since they were in Africa. Among all of Yang Ming's women, these two people knew each other the best. Therefore, after Victoria found something wrong with Yang Ming, she immediately found Wang Xiaoyan. Wang Xiaoyan also happened to find something wrong with Yang Ming. After the two people discussed and confirmed, they increasingly felt that Yang Ming was weird. At that time, Victoria called Wang Xiaoyan. Since the two of them returned to China, they did not have much contact, but they still exchanged phone numbers. Hello. Victoria. Wang Xiaoyan looked at the caller ID with some suspicion and picked up the phone. She couldn't guess why Victoria would call her. Wang Xiaoyan. I'm Victoria. Victoria's voice came from the other side of the phone. Where are you? I have something to talk to you about. For Wang Xiaoyan, Victoria was very casual, and there was not so much politeness in her tone. Although Victoria knew the relationship between Wang Xiaoyan and Yang Ming, she did not need to be respectful to Wang Xiaoyan. She was only responsible for her master, Yang Ming. Talk to me. What's the matter? After Wang Xiaoyan listened to Victoria's words, she was a bit baffled. What is it that you want to talk to me about? It's about Mr. Yang. Since she had already noticed something strange, Wang Xiaoyan would naturally go and get to the bottom of it. So, in the afternoon when Chen Mengyan, Lin Jiyun, and Zhou Jiejia all went to class, Wang Xiaoyan called Yang Ming to her villa. Didn't we just meet yesterday? Why are you so impatient to call me today? Yang Ming still entered Wang Xiaoyan's villa from the window. Although Chen Mengyan and the others all went to school, who knew if they would come back temporarily for something? Since Chen Mengyan already knew that Wang Xiaoyan lived next door, if he went in again, it was hard to guarantee that it would not arouse her suspicion. So, Yang Ming decided to fly over the roof and walk on the wall. It's really a pity that I actually used my kung fu to have an affair. If Fang Tian knew, I don't know what he would think. However, after Yang Ming said this, he saw that Victoria was actually in Wang Xiaoyan's home. He couldn't help but be a little embarrassed. Why are you here? I came by myself. Victoria said, I have something to ask you, so I discussed it with Wang Xiaoyan. Something to ask me? Yang Ming was stunned. Don't we often text each other? If you have something to ask, just ask directly. Do you still need to find someone to discuss it? Well, let me say it. Wang Xiaoyan glanced at Victoria and nodded to her. She made a gesture to calm down, then she turned to Yang Ming and said, Yang Ming, what happened to you recently? Recently? What do you mean what happened recently? Yang Ming was shocked, but he still asked with an indifferent expression. Your recent behavior, why do I feel that you are living like an old man? Has your life become unusually regular? Even when you look for me, it has become very regular, basically once every 2 days. Wang Xiaoyan stared at Yang Ming's eyes and asked. Oh. Is that so? Is there a regular pattern? Yang Ming's forehead slightly oozed some cold sweat. Isn't this good? I have nothing to do recently. What's wrong with spending more time with you? It's exactly because there's nothing wrong with it that life has become too comfortable. That's the biggest problem. Wang Xiaoyan said, Young Ming, you are not a person who can be idle. Don't deny it. It can be said that I am the one who understands you the most among all your women. Is this right? Although Yang Ming was somewhat reluctant to admit it, he still nodded. Even so, but I was too tired a while ago. What's wrong with resting? Rest? Are you resting? Wang Xiaoyan took out a list of phone numbers and placed it in front of Yang Ming. Chapter 16-14. How do you know my cell phone password? When Yang Ming saw that Wang Xiaoyan actually took out his cell phone call record list, he couldn't help but be stunned. I guessed it. It's your birthday. I didn't expect that I would be the first one to guess it correctly. Wang Xiaoyan shrugged. As an assassin, you are a bit careless in this regard. Yang Ming was somewhat speechless. This cell phone number was set up together with Lan Ling. The password was chosen randomly. At that time, he was not an assassin. Naturally, he didn't think so much. Later, he had not changed it. He didn't expect Wang Xiaoyan to take advantage of this opportunity. Look at your cell phone call record. Every day, after you get up, you start to call. The people you contact are the same. Of course, that includes me. I really admire you, Yang Ming. There are so many people, but you can actually take care of them all. Aren't you tired? Wang Xiaoyan pointed to a few numbers on the call record list and said, Why do I feel that you are not resting at all, nor are you contacting them for the sake of contacting them? It seems more like a kind of obligation and responsibility. Yang Ming didn't expect that his caution still made Wang Xiaoyan notice something. Facing this list of his call record, Yang Ming couldn't deny anything. However, after listening to Wang Xiaoyan's doubts and analysis, Yang Ming also understood where his oversight was. He was too calm and regular, which led to Wang Xiaoyan and Victoria's suspicion. Yang Ming, what happened? Wang Xiaoyan saw that Yang Ming was silent, and she couldn't help but be shocked. This means that Yang Ming acquiesced to what she said before. In this way, I am afraid that something is really going to happen. The more Wang Xiaoyan thought about it, the more she felt that Yang Ming seemed to have a sense of his will. This made Wang Xiaoyan uneasy in her heart. Although Wang Xiaoyan had always been very confident in Yang Ming. Even last time when he went to the Lancer family alone to save her father, he was full of confidence when he left. But this time, even Yang Ming had such an attitude. Perhaps, what was going to happen was not a trivial matter. Yang Ming was silent for a moment, calculating the gains and losses in his heart. Finally, he sighed and said, Well, since you have guessed it, I won't hide it anymore. You and Victoria are not outsiders, so it's okay for me to tell you. But what I said today, that's all. Don't tell others. Seeing that Yang Ming's identity finally admitted, Wang Xiaoyan and Victoria's family. Actually, I still have an official identity. Yang Ming did not wait for Wang Xiaoyan and Victoria to speak, and continued to say, There is a mysterious department called the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. It is similar to a secret service, and I am a member of it. Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Wang Xiaoyan repeated the name. She seemed to have heard of it somewhere. With her well-informed assassin identity, it was not strange for her to have heard of such an agency. This agency performs some very mysterious and dangerous missions. Under normal circumstances, they are basically responsible for things that cannot be solved under abnormal circumstances. Yang Ming continued, and I am going to perform a mission. Yang Ming had always been very confident in doing things. Even if he was not completely sure, he was still confident. Therefore, every time Yang Ming went out to perform a mission or to save someone, he was full of confidence. Only this time, Yang Ming did not have the slightest confidence. Yang Ming had a special ability, and he was the successor of the King of Assassins. It was not wrong to say that Yang Ming had an advantage over the average person. However, the enemy that Yang Ming was facing this time was not an ordinary person, but the mysterious and evil Elder Yu. This person was not only proficient in voodoo, but he also practiced evil techniques. Not to mention Yang Ming, even the authentic people from the Miaojiang Miao village were not the opponent of this Elder Yu. Yang Ming was even less confident. Since Elder Yu could not be cleaned up by Lan Ling's Miao village for so many years, but he was almost killed by Yang Ming, what confidence did Yang Ming have to win? However, regardless of whether Yang Ming was confident or not, this time, he had to go. It was the same whether it was for public or private reasons. Elder Yu was originally his enemy. Even if he did not confront him directly now, there would be a day when he would confront him. Moreover, there were things that a great man should do and shouldn't do. Since he had joined the Supernatural Investigation Bureau for so long, it was reasonable for him to contribute to the country here. Therefore, after Yang Ming thought about it, he decided to fight with his back against the wall. However, to be honest, Yang Ming himself was not confident that he could return safely this time. Therefore, Yang Ming particularly cherished the peaceful days now. He tried his best to accompany his lovers and enjoy this rare warmth and peace. Perhaps this time, I won't be able to come back. Of course, it was a little frustrating to think like this, but some things had to be prepared in advance. Is it very dangerous? Wang Xiaoyan suddenly understood Yang Ming's words and couldn't help but ask. Yang Ming nodded. To be honest, at least I don't have any confidence. Wang Xiaoyan listened to Yang Ming's words, and the anxiety on her face became stronger. Can you not go? Yang Ming smiled bitterly and shook his head. I have already promised them. Yang Ming. Wang Xiaoyan hugged Yang Ming and threw herself into his arms. Her tears couldn't help but fall. Wang Xiaoyan was a strong person. She had not cried for a long time, but this time, she finally couldn't help but cry. Chapter 16-15. Why didn't you tell me before? Wang Xiaoyan snuggled into Yang Ming's embrace and held onto Yang Ming's hand tightly. She was afraid that she would lose him if she let go. You can hide it from others, but you shouldn't hide it from me. We've been through so many life and death situations together, I'm afraid you'll be worried. Yang Ming sighed. As long as I'm confident, I'll tell you easily. But this time, the enemy I'm facing is unknown. Unknown. Wang Xiaoyan didn't quite understand what Yang Ming meant. Is the enemy very strong? Strong. I guess so. Yang Ming nodded. You know, in many situations, as long as it's within the scope of nature, I won't be afraid no matter how strong the enemy is. I'll always be able to find a loophole. But this time, the enemy I'm facing is beyond the scope of nature. The enemy's ability is far beyond our imagination. Why does it sound like the enemy you're facing has superpowers? Wang Xiaoyan was a little confused. Superpowers. Not really, but it's almost there. Yang Ming smiled bitterly and explained, the enemy is from Blue Miao Village. He's a traitor of Blue Miao Village. He's practicing an evil technique that increases his power by sucking the fresh blood of people who have just died. It can be said that this person is very evil. Not only is he invulnerable, but he's also proficient in voodoo. Ah! Wang Xiaoyan heard Yang Ming's words and looked at Yang Ming in disbelief. If it wasn't Yang Ming who said this, Wang Xiaoyan definitely wouldn't believe it. It was because what Yang Ming said was too unbelievable. Voodoo, evil technique, sucking human blood. This was simply beyond the scope of a person's imagination. It was already illogical. When I first came into contact with it, I didn't believe it either. However, one of my girlfriends is the granddaughter of Blue Meow Village's chief. After knowing her, I realized that voodoo is real and does exist. However, only a small number of Meow people have mastered it, and they can't simply use voodoo on ordinary people. Yang Ming explained to Wang Xiaoyan, this elder Yu is a traitor of Blue Meow Village. Not only does he practice forbidden techniques, but he also uses voodoo on ordinary people. So, no matter what, this dangerous person must be eliminated. You're going to be an enemy of such a person. Wang Xiaoyan widened her eyes. You have no chance of winning. I can't say that there is none. If a miracle happens, maybe there is still hope. Yang Ming said with a smile. Isn't it the same with what you say? No, I won't let you go. Wang Xiaoyan hugged Yang Ming tightly. If this is the case, I can't let you go no matter what. Yan Yan, you know me. Yang Ming didn't say much but simply said. It was because he knew that Wang Xiaoyan would understand the meaning of his words. Sure enough, Wang Xiaoyan fell into silence as soon as Yang Ming finished speaking. After a while, Wang Xiaoyan said, Have you really decided? N. Yang Ming replied. Then, you have to be careful. I really hope that this is a dream. Wang Xiaoyan sighed. She knew that no matter what she said, she couldn't change Yang Ming's decision. Just like when Yang Ming went to the Lancer family alone to save her father, Wang Xiaoyan was the first to object because she had lost her father and didn't want to lose Yang Ming. However, under Yang Ming's insistence, Wang Xiaoyan still had to let Yang Ming go. However, Yang Ming was full of confidence at that time. Before leaving, he even teased her and others by saying that they would wait for his triumphant return. This time, Yang Ming himself was not sure. This made Wang Xiaoyan feel very gloomy. Hee, then you can treat it as a dream. Yang Ming smiled. If I come back, you can treat it as a dream. Nothing happened. If I don't come back, you can also treat it as a dream. Treat it as knowing me in a dream. When you wake up, everything is over. Nonsense. Wang Xiaoyan pinched Yang Ming. Don't say such discouraging words. It's inauspicious. We are all assassins. How can there be so many taboos? Yang Ming smiled bitterly. I didn't expect you to pinch people. Of course, I am also a girl. Wang Xiaoyan snorted. Mingyan's class should be over. I should go back. Yang Ming looked at his watch and said to Wang Xiaoyan. N. Wang Xiaoyan reluctantly let go of Yang Ming's hand. Don't be so regular every day in the future. Chen Mengyan and the others will be suspicious. I got it. After Wang Xiaoyan and Victoria saw the problem, Yang Ming decided to change his daily lifestyle after going back. Since Victoria and Wang Xiaoyan were suspicious, the other girls around him were not stupid. It was hard to guarantee that they would not notice the problem after a long time. It seemed that he was a little idealistic, so he ignored these details. Downstairs, Victoria was still sitting on the sofa. When she saw Yang Ming coming downstairs, she took out a small box from her handbag and handed it to Yang Ming. What is it? Yang Ming took the small box and asked, baffled. The chip taken out of my body. Victoria said, this is the world's most advanced GPS satellite positioning system. It can be used for global positioning. Even in a blind spot, it can be used to calculate the distance of the lost signal by starting the built-in radar to track the target's movement. The approximate range can be determined. Victoria explained, you can take it with you or install it in your shoes. You don't have to be so exaggerating, right? Yang Ming looked at the box. If something really happens to me, can you save me with this? I am not his opponent. What's the use of you going? You take it, Victoria said stubbornly. Well, then I will take it with me. Yang Ming nodded, took the box, and held it in his hand. There won't be a blasting device in it, right? No, it has been taken out. Victoria smiled. Why? Are you afraid that I will blow you up so that I can escape your control? I've said it before. If you want to leave, you can leave at any time. Moreover, I don't even know if I can come back from this trip to Yunnan. If you don't blow me up, I probably won't be able to do it. Victoria smiled. I will wait for you to come back. In this life, I only have one master. Although Victoria's words seemed to be casual, it really made Yang Ming's heart tremble. Victoria was a stubborn person. Yang Ming knew it very well. When Yang Ming returned home, his phone rang. Yang Ming looked at the phone number. It was Xia Bingbao calling. Hello, brother Xia, what's the matter? Is the time for the mission set? Yang Ming asked subconsciously. Mission time. Xia Bingbao was stunned, and then said, not yet. We still have to wait for a while. Our department is also discussing the most secure plan. We can't let you take risks blindly. After all, you are the ultimate trump card of our Supernatural Investigation Bureau. We can't allow you to have any accidents. So it's like this. This feeling of being valued made Yang Ming feel good. At least, he felt that he was not risking his life for nothing. Right, I almost forgot about the business. I called you to talk about the last time you asked me to help you find Lu Xiaolei, Xia Bingbao said. For your matter, I almost mobilized the power of the investigation bureau in the country. Sorry to trouble you, brother Xia. Yang Ming was a little embarrassed. Although he knew that Xia Bingbao did this to make a deal with him, Yang Ming was still very touched that Xia Bingbao was willing to help him with these trivial matters. It's nothing. Xia Bingbao smiled. However, the result may disappoint you. You didn't find it? Asked Yang Ming. I found it, but it was a corpse, Xia Bingbao said. I found a floating corpse on the beach of Bianhai City. After identification, it was Lu Xiaolei, the deputy captain of the Mingjiang Bank Escort Company. Dead? Yang Ming frowned subconsciously. Could it be that there are still some secrets in this matter? Originally, Yang Ming didn't think much about it. He just thought that Lu Xiaolei just took the money and ran away, but now it seemed that this was not the case. There seemed to be some unknown things behind the scenes. During this time, Yang Ming had to perform a mission, so he didn't have the mood to care about these things. Yang Ming didn't ask much about the details of Jing Xiaolu's side. Now that Xia Bingbao mentioned it, he thought about it. How did he die? Shot. Xia Bingbao said, Lu Xiaolei was shot 6 times. 2 of them were fatal. They were located in the left forehead and left chest. What kind of gun did he shoot? Yang Ming listened to Xia Bingbao's words and was more and more sure of his previous thoughts. There was definitely a secret in this. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.